Shalom, shalom. Welcome to the second half of the classes at Temple Kefarym. We are going over the portion. This portion is when we go through the scriptures. But before we get started, those that are tuning in later, please make sure that you like, that you share it, and that you subscribe if you haven't yet. And those that are going to be on shortly, we're going to hold off just for a second before we get started. Let everybody kind of come in. We want to go ahead and go with prayers. Will anybody open us up for prayer? You will? All right. I'll try to play something. I don't know how it's going to sound through my computer. Hold on 1 second, y'all. All right. So before we get started, we're going to play a song or so. Hopefully you all can hear it when I play it. I'm not sure if you all heard it, but I'll play it. It's a new single by me and Amuna. Me and Princess Amuna. Bed Mazan. Here we go.
If you show me the screen, it'll sound better. Okay. So you can do that now.
That's only when I'm going on YouTube, though. I'm already on YouTube, right?
Oh, you already? Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
As the days of Noah, can you keep us safe and dry? 'Cause we don't want you to ever pass us by. As the days of Noah, can you keep us safe and dry? 'Cause we don't want you to ever pass us by. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. As the days of Noah, can you keep us safe and dry? 'Cause we don't want you to ever pass us by. As the days of Noah, can you keep us safe and dry? 'Cause we don't want you to ever pass us by. the days of Noah, can you keep us safe and dry? 'Cause we don't want you to ever pass us by. As the days of Noah, can you keep us safe and dry? 'Cause we don't want you to ever pass us by. As the days of Noah, can you keep us safe and dry? 'Cause we don't want you to ever pass us by. As the days of Noah, can you keep us safe and dry? 'Cause we don't want you to ever pass us by.
All right, that was my Isha with the siblings, you three. We're gonna play one more song before we get started, just letting everybody get in. And here we go.
Among the gods, there is none like unto thee, neither are there any works like unto thy words. All nations whom thou hast made shall come and worship before thee, O Lord, and shall glorify thy name. For thou art great and doest wondrous things. Teach me thy ways, O Lord, yes, I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. Oh, I will praise thee, O Lord, with all my heart, and I shall glorify thy name. For thou art great, yes, and doest wondrous things. Thou art great and do 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 wondrous things.
All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go into prayer, and then we're going to get started. My Isha is going to pray us in, so all minds be cleared. Try to speak as loud as you can.
Moreno, Malkinu, Abinu, we humbly come before you, asking to approach your throne. So I cleanse of any uncleanliness, whether it be physical, mental, or spiritual. We come before you with a grateful heart, saying to our God for allowing us to have another Shabbat together as a mishpachah, as a community. Tell our God for your mercies, your life, your strength, and your wisdom that you've imparted into us and the leaders of Beulah. Tell our God again for allowing us to come together for the furtherment of our knowledge and our walk with you. May all of our paths continue to be led to more righteousness, so that we can be counted worthy as those of our forefathers and foremothers who were presented perfect before you. We ask that you would allow us to be complete in our walk. Please allow us to rise where we fall. Please allow us to be strong where we're weak. Please allow us to be faithful where we lack anything. We praise you. We give you all the esteem, all the honor, and all the glory forevermore. We praise you for your constant remembrance of us as Israel. Todah for the remnant being here to carry on your commandments and everything that you've given us to pass down to generation. Please allow us to be those that preserve what is righteous and pass down as the days of Noah. We praise you for your everlasting love and care for Israel. Halu et hakoah kaniski. Praise eternal power. Amen.
Toda, Ishti. For those of you that are tuning in, welcome to the second half, the second class at Temple Kefarym. This first portion of the second class is when we bring forth our scriptures from the Torah. What we can't pick is the first 10 commandments, but we call those baby laws, even though they are very important and needed. But we want to dive through the rest of the laws to continue to expand our understanding and to continue to use that expansion of that understanding to fulfill our walk more in alignment with the Most High. So we're going to go over that. Those of you that sit in the audience, if you have your scripture, please let it be known, and we'll put it on for everyone to see on YouTube and Facebook. And please elaborate on your scripture that you brought forth. We're going to do that with those here at the Mishkan or the Knesset, and we're going to do that with you all as well. So without further ado, is there anyone? Well, actually, before we go into scripture, I think we have a performance that is going to happen with Ach Zante. I almost slipped my mind. He's coming up here. Okay, that's fine. Cool.
This is definitely a springtime out. A fairly new song. All right.
What you need?
This is oh man.
You need me to hold the phone up for you?
All right, Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Today's piece is a song called Too Far. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Okay. All right. So today's piece is called Too Far. And it is a piece that I'm still currently working on. I wanted to share a little bit of what I have with you. fatherless child, trying to find his way in life with no sense of direction. Left to fend for himself, left to sit under the sun. But every situation teaches patience, patience. Let it lead you through this life. Abba, bring us all back home. Abba, guide us with your light. I think we've gone too far. 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 I'm divine, intertwined with my inner thoughts, spending time with my creator. Known to speak the truth, I ain't never been no debater. Word on my shoulders, I'm feeling like I'm the savior. No blasphemy, I'm glad to be a servant of the Alpha and the last to be how magically I feel knowing y'all created masterpiece, created in his image. That means that you actually have power in your veins, You can do the same if only you can see the change taking place in your life. When things keep going left, that's how you know y'all taking you right. I learned to embrace the light. I got prepared for the fight. I'm not afraid by the arrow day. I'm not afraid by the arrow by day, terror by night. And I'm gonna shine this shit light across the ocean, the islands and the deserts. Whatever I have to do to better myself. My behavior determines who I am in my future, the future. No, I think we've gone too far. 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 No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I think we've gone too far.
All right. All right. That was a unreleased piece, new song by Akas Asante or Ashante. All right, you all. We're going to get started. For those of you that are on YouTube or on Facebook, if you have your scripture, please bring it forth and also a comment or explanation of it. We'll get started with those on the panel and or those here in the Knesset or Mishkan. We can get started with our scripture. Torah Rabah. Asante. Don't all speak at once. All right. I'll turn my volume down.
Shabbat shalom l'kulam. My commandment's going to be coming from Isaiah chapter 4, verse 22 to 24. When a leader sins and inadvertently does something against any of the misquote of Adonai concerning things which should not be done, he is guilty. If the sin which he committed becomes known to him, he is to bring as his offering a male goat without defect. Lay his hand on the goat's head and slaughter it in the place where they slaughter the burnt offerings in the presence of Adonai. It is a sin offering. And the reason I chose this commandment is because leadership does take accountability, and if you're in a place where they teach the opposite, then you know that they're not following the order of the Most High. Me and Maisha always talk about it, how the Most High is a power of order. He's always had order from the head to the toe. And I just brought this out so we could see that if leadership is lacking accountability, then they're not fully following the Most High.
Great, great command. I like that command. I would like for you to elaborate on it a little bit more. This is my question to you. In the ancient days, as the commandment you brought forward, it said that what we were required to do, what leadership is required to do, if they sinned before the Most High, was bring a sacrifice, an offering before the Creator, and that would absolve them of their sins. How do you propose leadership who sinned a deadly sin today? How do you propose they present themselves to the Creator today to be forgiven of their iniquities, of their sin?
That's a good question. If we had to substitute something today that would not replace that, but be in place for that, I think that their title, not permanently, their title should be revoked for however long or however major the sin was. And I believe they should serve whoever the person is that's over them. I think they should go into servitude.
Okay, explain that part. Go into servitude to the person that's over them. Explain that portion.
When I say servitude, I mean like that person will mentor them and even have a close eye on them. They'll have to keep that person basically in their business, and that person has charge of not everything they do, but like major decisions, they'll have to bring it to that person so that the accountability can still be kept record.
Okay, so now that's on the physical side. How do you deal with the spiritual side? How do you get the Most High to forgive that person of his sins? Or how does that person who have sinned against the Creator be forgiven of his sin? What you just mentioned is how man deals with him. But how do you get to be getting in the sight of the Creator to be deemed worthy of forgiveness? What do you have to do? Or what would your suggestion be that a man should do?
I would say fasting and praying and in a constant state of repentance.
What does that mean, in a constant state of repentance?
That when they go to ask permission to approach the Most High's throne, that, you know, how we start with repentance, but their repentance would be of whatever that sin was, that they would constantly repeat it, asking for forgiveness. Okay. And then, I mean, of course, up to that person to change their ways.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. That part right there. You just put the hinge on the hatchet. Talk to us about that, about his changing of his ways. Speak to us about that. What does that look like?
Well, depending on what the person did that caused them to put themselves in that state of sin, do the opposite that caused that. Changing their ways. Don't put themselves in a position that will put themselves in that state where they will sin or fall in that same place again. Like if it's vulnerability to lust, don't put yourself in a position to be with, and we're talking about leadership. So respectfully, I'll just say a leader that's a man, don't put yourself in a position where you're alone with women or you're conversating with women alone. Just being careful of your steps. And if it has something to do with stealing money, don't be in a position where you're dealing with money if you don't have accountability with you.
It's very good. Good advice. Good advice. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. You know, you give a lot of things to consider for people to think about. You gave a lot of important information. The part I wanted you to jump on that you eventually got to was the part about change behavior. A lot of people tend to think that when they sin against the Creator, all they need to do is ask for forgiveness and they can go on living their lives doing the same thing or worse things, and thinking that's okay because I actually forgive me. For example, there a certain Marine that I know personally. When they were younger, their sins. Where's that echo coming from? I'm hearing. When they were younger, their sins was primarily dealing with women on the sexual nature. When they got older and they became Maureen, their sin was still dealing with women, but a whole lot worse. And by this time, 10, 15 years have passed by, they done racked up a whole lot of sin against women. A whole lot of sin. How do you, in my interpretation, my opinion, how do you eradicate that and ask for forgiveness of the Creator? In my opinion, it goes a lot deeper than just changing your ways from having relations with women to put you in that same situation. Like, for example, for your example that you gave was don't be alone with women, was one thing that you said. And don't talk and counsel and deal with women on that level when you're by yourself. Don't be in the company of a woman by yourself, is basically what I took from what you were saying. I think that you have grown in life with a particular sin in your life for so many years. One day you wake up and you say, well, I can't do this anymore. So you decided it's time for you to go before the Creator, ask for forgiveness, and turn and not do it again. I like the part where you said you do the opposite of what that sin is telling you to do. Strong part. Great behavior. But in my opinion, the individual who has been doing this thing for so long needs to go into his mind down memory lane and go all the way back to as earliest parts as he can see or she can see in their life when the little things that started that sin took place. It's one thing to acknowledge, well, I'm an alcoholic and I don't need to be around no alcohol, using the examples that you brought out. So Creator, forgive me. I don't want to do this alcoholism no more. That's a leader. And this is why I'm dealing with this issue so deep, because it's a leader. I don't want to deal with this sin no more. Creator, please forgive me. I keep beating up my family, losing my money, going out getting drunk, not giving no money to the temple, not feeding the poor or the homeless. I don't want to do this anymore, Creator. Please forgive me. I want to change my ways. And they go through a process of changing their ways. But they don't go down memory lane to find out when they first started using alcohol and abusing alcohol. Therefore, it's not for so much changing that they can do. But when it comes to the time for them to have to exercise their leadership position and help somebody else out of that situation, they can't. Because they don't even know how they got in that situation. They happen to be fortunate enough to get out of it, but how did it start? Where was the root cause of all of that led up to the place where you are today? And that's what a lot of people don't understand with these addictions, with these demons that sit up inside you, because you let them in you from different places. He doesn't have the experience to help someone else get out of that situation that may be weaker than him. If he took the trip down memory lane, and if he meditated and prayed and fasted for the Most High's assistance, the Most High would show him where he first opened the door, because the Most High said to Cain, he said, sin lieth at the door, but you can rule over him. So obviously when sin approached that man or that woman, it was lurking hints and signs. But the individual opened the door and let sin in. And when sin comes in, it doesn't usually come in all at once. You might get sin's toenail, and then you'll get sin's baby toe, and then you'll get half of sin's foot, and then you'll get all the way up to sin's ankle, and the next thing you get could be sin's calf. Sin is crafty. It knows how to get you. So the point why it took its time is because sin knew that you had dedicated your life to the Creator, and if it exposed itself all at one time, you would catch wind of it, and you will say no, and you shut that door. So sin had to creep in real slow. And guess what? Sometimes sin takes years before it fully exposes itself to you. You have to be able to recognize sin at its conception and annihilate it at its conception. Do y'all understand what I mean? And usually when sin approaches, it approaches you right here. So a lot of these wicked thoughts that we might have, a lot of these things that tear us up mentally, that we know we shouldn't do, we meditate on it, but we don't do it. We hold it secretly in our hearts, but we might not act on it. That's sinful. That's the beginning of the violation taking place in your life. That's his toenail. When you, man, I know I ain't supposed to be smoking this weed, right? But I'm going to sneak around and do it anyway. Ain't nobody going to see me. But you know you're not supposed to be doing it. You thinking of this way in how to do this, smoke this marijuana. A lot of people say, smoking marijuana ain't no sin. Well, if you gave an oath that you wouldn't do it, and now you're doing it, then it's a sin. You're violating the covenant that you made with whoever before the Almighty. So the point I'm bringing out is that sin don't jump all out at you at one time and reveal itself to you. It slowly creeps in your thoughts first. Then you'll see it in your vision. And it'll try to make you manipulate your situation so that it can come further into your life. It builds up in your heart, and you get a desire, a passion, and a wanting and a craving that you don't even know where it came from. And the next thing you know, it's a full-blown out sin. You're a moray or you're a leader, and you can't teach nobody how to do something when you're guilty of the same thing that they're doing and you're presently doing the same thing. Now, you may not be a leader. You may not be a moray, but sin still lies at your door. The thing I like best about all this is that when you see sin coming, as Nasika said, do the opposite. But the important part is you have to be able to recognize sin when it first appears. And it might not be just on the level of adultery. It might not be on the level of fornication with a woman who you're not married to. It may not be on the level of alcoholism. It could be on the level of you mistreating your children. It could be on the level of you speaking ill about your spiritual leader. The Most High says that's a sin in his eyes. That's something that you should never do. But a lot of us are not careful enough to think like that. The Most High says you should not speak ill against the leader of your people. That's a law. That's a violation. That's a sin. And no matter what you think, you are to hold holy meetings, holy council, holy gatherings, and you are to address those issues right away before they become larger and larger and larger. And the next thing you know, you're sinning against the Creator. We don't want to do that. Sin comes in many ways. You could be sinning against your sister. By every time you see her, you mistreat her. You speak ill about her. You disrespect her. You tell everybody in the community bad news about her. You never have anything good to say about her. You're sinning against your sister. And we're on a mission to eradicate sin from our lives. Oh, you ain't gonna never get there. Oh, yes, you can. If you couldn't, the Most High wouldn't tell you not to do it. What, are you gonna give you a job too hard for you to accomplish? I like how my brother teaches it best. He says, A sinner and a person who committed a sin are two different things. A perfect man can commit a sin every once in a while, ask for forgiveness, and never revisit that sin again. But a sinner is someone who lives in a life of sin. Almost everything he does in his life is a habitual sin trap that he lives in. Almost everything about him is a lie. Or he will lie, or he will steal, or he will cheat, and it's repetitive in his life. He's a sinner. But the person who strives to serve the Most High, like all of us, to give the Most High the best of us and eradicate sin out of our lives, we're not sinners. We may have sinned, but we're not sinners because we haven't dedicated our lives to doing evil, wickedness, and corruption. We've dedicated our lives to serve the Creator. We're not perfect in every aspect of the word, but when you compare us to the average person who have not dedicated their lives to the Most High in truth, we are perfect. Therefore, we are perfected. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah Nasika for your commandment this morning. What a way to start us off. Got Prince all excited over here. Toda Rabbah, and a very, very good commandment and beautiful explanation. May the Most High be praised.
All right, Toda Ishti. Again, those are tuning in right now. Please, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share. This is the portion when we go through our Torah, and this is the portion of learning. So we want to share it to those that may have questions and they haven't received the answers. And here at Beulah land, Temple Kefarym, we press to make sure those answers are found, no matter if we have to come back days later. But we do it. So please share it so people can come in and tune in. Is anyone else here on the platform or in the Mishkan or Knesset want to bring forth their scripture? I know we have one with Zakena L'Oreal. I'll read that. We also have one. We have a couple actually. All right. Exodus chapter 22, verse 21. You shall not wrong the sojourner or oppress him, for you were sojourners in the land of Mitzrayim. That is Zakena Cecilia. Okay. All right. Just waiting on your explanations, Zakena, to that. Then next we have Zakena Sakari, and that is Devarim or Deuteronomy 10 and 20. To cleave to those who know him, cleaving to the scholars is the same as cleaving to him. I love that she said that. For some people, they may not fully understand that because we are in a time, as we were back then too, where there were a lot of leaders who's misleading the people who deem themselves to be scholars. And people around them deem them to be scholars. But I take from her explanation that the scholars were the Talmidim, right? The Talmid it's a word student, but it's a scholar of the Most High, a wise scholar. Those were individuals who taught the people and they lived and walked they were supposed to, the life. So I take that from your explanations. Please let me know if I was correct. And Prince, I think you sounded like you was about to say something in regards to it. Cut your wisdom.
No, man. You got it. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Can. So I just wanted to put that out there for those that got cringe at the word scholars, because we have many of those within our community, but then you see their lives, how they move, and you are you really dislike it. Those aren't the scholars that the Bible speaks of us to cleave to, because we see throughout the scripture that many other ethnicities cleave to like people like Moshe and all that. They wanted to pray to your power. This is your power. So they knew to go through that scholar or go through that leader to get to the Most High, even though we all can, but Most High put that in place for many of us. All right.
May the Most High be praised, sis.
Toda. This is Zakena L'Oreal, I believe. Yes. My commandment for today is Devarim, Deuteronomy 1:17, not to appoint as a judge a person who is not well versed in the laws of the Torah, even if they are experts or knowledgeable in other aspects, for that would not be wise. To be a judge in Israel, one must know and observe the laws of the Most High, who commands us to appoint judges and officers in every community of Israel. That is Deuteronomy 16 and 18. What I love about Deuteronomy 1 that she brought out, also, it tells that person in leadership to not fold or bend either. And not many people do that. Many judges and leaders, they do bend to their friends, to those that they're close with. So that still goes in alignment with what Zakena Sakari brought out too with the scholars. These individuals, these leaders, these are the ones who are supposed to judge the people properly and righteously. And that's why if you read Deuteronomy 1 and you keep going down, that may be the verse, I'm not sure. You keep going down, it actually speaks on that.
Can we go there?
Okay. Don't know, I gotta find the actual script, but it is Deuteronomy 1. Let me pull it up.
Sister Ornette got it already.
Oh, she does. Okay.
Right, Sister Ornette? You got it already?
Devarim 1.
Shabbat shalom, sis.
Let me go to it. See if I can find the actual. Oh, yeah, that was 1 and 17. Do not show partiality in right ruling. Hear the small as well as the great. Do not be afraid of anyone's face. For the right ruling belongs to the Most High. And the case which is too hard for you, bring it to me and I shall hear it. Right? So at this point, he's letting them know that, the leaders, they can't be afraid of another individual, which I was just speaking on. And we see that today. We see people who are judging, and they're judging not according to the law and according to righteous spirit and mind, but they're judging according to those around them to stay in good graces with those individuals. So that's my 2 cents. Torah for that scripture. Zakena L'Oreal.
May the Most High be praised. Torah Rabbah. Great scripture, sis. Great scripture.
Okay, and I see Zakena Sakari said Talmud. Talmud is a variation of the word Talmud. Talmud is dealing with the student itself. Talmud is dealing with, if I'm not mistaken, I'll go more deep into it, and I'll come back after sometime at this point of the lesson. It's going more into the idea of the school itself.
Studying.
Right. So Talmud is an actual student. Talmud is an actual student, and it's a wise scholar. It's a scholar. All right. I'm not sure what a Facebook user is.
I'll let you know.
All right. So the Facebook user says the Torah. Okay. So I came to say it says the Torah and the record of Yisrael's journey as recorded through other scripture was preserved for our learning and reflection, as brought out by Nasi Shema earlier. Embodied in this particular statute is the wisdom of understanding known today as empathy, i.e., putting ourselves in the shoes of others. We were commanded to recall the plight of our forefathers in Mizraim or Egypt and how we were treated there. We are commanded not to treat the sojourners who chose to be amongst us, even with your family. You must not show partiality.
Now, Nasik, I think that was coming from her commandment earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That was maybe the explanation for her commandment.
Okay.
May the Most High be praised, sis. The point she brought out is very difficult for a lot of people in leadership position to do. And that is not show partiality. When your family get called on the same violations, you seem to be a lot more lenient than you was when it was a brother or a sister that wasn't your direct blood. And you seem to make certain rules, bend certain rules, and make certain waves for those who are not your direct descendants. And that's unrighteous. extremely. And those type of leaderships, the Most High will hold in judgment. Let's move on, please.
Can you all still hear me?
Okay.
Oh, okay, I'm froze for now. So I can't see anything if anything is being brought up. Please.
They got you, but they were supposed to get me. See, they hit the wrong button that time.
All right, I'm gonna refresh.
Okay, he's refreshing his computer.
All right. All right. Total Rabbah. Who's next on the list on the panel? Who else would like to go and give a commandment for the day?
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, sis.
My commandment today is coming from Wayikra, or Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 9 through 10.
Now, chapter 19, Leviticus, is the love chapter. That's the love chapter. This is where the Most High teaches us how to love. Go ahead, sis.
And it reads, "And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and the sojourner. I am the Most High, your creator." So basically, this is a commandment dealing with when you are to leave a portion of your harvest for the needy or less fortunate, or when you go out to collect your harvest, you're not to collect every single last thing that fell down on the ground. The Creator wants us to treat each other with compassion. So this scripture lets me know that there will always be someone poor or less fortunate that's around us, somebody that's traveling that's around us. So we are to make sure that we share, basically, because these things, the Creator is going to bless you with surplus. All these things belong to the Creator anyways. So we're to share and help when we can.
Okay. All right. Most High be praised. Total Rabbah for bringing that out. Somebody has a big echo in the background.
Probably this room.
Let me elaborate a little bit on that commandment. Sis, you brought that commandment forward. Do you see the love in that?
Okay.
Do you see why I call this the love commandment, this whole chapter, 19th chapter? So tell us why you see where it called the love commandment.
Because it's teaching us how we should treat each other.
And how are we supposed to treat each other?
With love.
With
and
love.
compassion.
Do you know how many people don't understand what love looks like?
Mm-hmm.
When you read that scripture, love look like this. I don't even know you, but I'm going to make sure you eat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what love looks like. When you do things for people, not expecting something else in return to big you up or to increase your pockets or to make you look good. A lot of times you do things for people and you do it anonymously. So they don't even know that you did it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do something for somebody, sometimes you might want to say, don't tell nobody I did it. It's not because you are ashamed of what you did or you're scared of what they're going to say. It's because you're humble.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it could be because you're humble and you're modest and you just like to do things from the pureness of your heart.
Mm-hmm.
That whole chapter is about doing for each other, helping each other, and then doing for the Creator. But it's all about love. If you don't have love in your essence, you can't keep these laws.
Mm-hmm.
So that commandment you brought out was a high level of love. You don't even see the person that you're helping.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us are so stingy. What we do is we'll drop something on the ground and pick every one of them up because we thinking about money. We thinking about how much wealth we're missing out on if we don't get this to sell it and to make income from it. But that ain't what the Most High says. The Most High says if you do this and some of it fall on the ground, leave it on the ground. And let the passerby, the sojourners, the strangers, let them go get it. Because it just may be somebody out there that needs it for their survival. There are a lot of people in our community that's poor. Well, if you don't bring any money into the house of worship, how are we going to take care of them? Why should that responsibility fall on one person? That's not the way it's supposed to be. The people are supposed to take care of the needs of the people. Do y'all understand that? That's a high level. Go back whenever you get a chance, anybody in the audience, when you get a chance, go back and read the entire 19th chapter of the book of Leviticus. Leviticus. Read it and watch how the love is demonstrated all through the chapter. Pick any verse, and that verse will be talking about love. That's my love chapter. So thank you for bringing that forward, sis. May the Most High be praised.
I thought about this too, Sleek Eye.
Drop it. Drop them jewels, sis.
You know, a lot of times, especially in today's times, when people see homeless people or quote unquote beggars, you know, it's kind of like it's like a shameful thing to beg or to ask, be put in a position where you would have to ask for something. It can be a very shameful thing. So this commandment to me also brings out that, you know, this keeps people from having to be shamed. You know what I mean? So that makes a lot of sense, what you were saying about love. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I can teach you a lot about love, sis. I can teach you a lot about love. Let me tell you something. Most people don't know the beginning stage of love. Most people's form of love is really greed and selfishness. It has nothing to do with love. And when you're talking about a relationship, 90% of what you're feeling is lust.
Right.
Not love. Love don't go nowhere. Love don't go, it doesn't change. It doesn't, somebody gets you upset or don't please you in a certain manner. That love don't go anywhere, but lust does. That's why people fall out of what they call love. I fell out of love with him. I stopped loving her. It's because they never loved them in the beginning. Because if it's love, it will never go anywhere. It doesn't change. So people don't know what love is all about. Like when somebody give of their last, they only got $5 and they ain't gonna get no more money till their next paycheck, which is 2 weeks away. But they know that the neighbor next door to them ain't got no food in the house. So he take that $5 and go get them a bag of apples and a bag of oranges so that they can eat, and he don't eat or she don't eat, and he ain't even got to know them. But that's love. If they don't accept it, that's on them, but he showed love to them. Not enough of us understand what love is about till we get into a relationship with somebody and we think sex plays a part of love, and sex ain't got nothing to do with love. You can be married to a man, be married to a woman, and y'all ain't even gotta have sex in your relationship. Y'all could stop having sex at one point. Y'all had to have had it in your relationship at least one time. You could stop at that point and be married to that person for 40 years and truly love that individual. Because love is something that you show through your actions, not your mouth.
Yeah.
This world got us so twisted right now that we think marriage is all about sex. Now, I don't went from sex to love to marriage. We think that marriage is all about sex, but it's not. It's not. Don't let the world fool you. It's not about sex. Sex is a benefit of marriage. It's a plus sign that you get because you're married. If you're not married, you shouldn't be having sex. But it has nothing to do with love. Nothing at all. So it might have something to do with that for a woman, but for a man, it doesn't. And I say for a woman because a woman wants that physical, that spiritual connection, that emotion to be involved. But men don't care about that emotion. Real men, that is. Let's move on. I know I started another conversation. If y'all got any questions about that, hit me up in the chat. We'll make a whole class about it another day. One more thing. And then I'm going to leave it alone with that love part. Two people meet. Love at first sight. I want you. Oh, I want you too. Let's get married. They get married. They having whoopee. He hit the dog with his car. She loved the dog. She leaves him now because he ran over his dog, her dog. He didn't mean to, but she did something that every time she sees his face, she thinks about her dog and she gets sad. So now she leaves him because he hit her, killed her dog. Did she love him? No, she lusted him. She lusted him. There was no love there. And her emotions was contingent upon how he treated her, how he made her feel. And the moment that it didn't happen no more, she was able to just disconnect her emotions and keep it going. Sisters, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. A lot of the males here today may not understand where I'm coming from, but I know y'all sisters understand. He can do one thing. And I mean, one thing serious in that relationship, all deal is off. It's gone. You ain't never got to see him again. You could send him to China and don't care nothing about him. But that's when it's not love. When it's real love, that man can violate you over and over and over again. And your family be like, I'm talking about, why are you still staying with this guy? Why are you still being there with him? And that is a form of real love. But he don't love you, because if he loved you, he wouldn't keep violating you. Think, family. Think about it. He would go into his emotional stage. You know, we do got a little emotion. So where you going, sis? We do got a little bit of emotion somewhere up in there. But he would go into his selfish emotional side and separate himself from that side to keep his wife in good respects, good mind, a good spirit. A real man would do that. He wouldn't violate his woman intentionally over and over and over, willingly, if he loved her. He wouldn't hurt her like that. That's just real. If he don't love her, oh, he gonna keep doing it. And they gonna keep living in that illusion that they in marriage, they in love. And it's not that. He just loves. He loves what he get from you. He loves what you do for him, but he don't really love you. Because he'll replace you quick. But he'll still be looking for you to do those things for him that you do that brings him pleasure. That's just how it is with a lot of people, because they don't understand what true love is. True love, tell them you don't want to lay with them anymore. I don't want to have sex with you anymore. And I'm done with you for at least 10 years. Matter of fact, make it simple. Tell them you want a month. Tell them I want to go 30 days with no sexual intercourse. And I know I can't do it, husband, unless you give me permission, but I would like to have that break. See, I tell you, 30 days. No, man. We can't do that. A lot of them are like that. But a real man that's disciplined in the Most High would appreciate his wife making that suggestion. He would appreciate it. And he wouldn't run out and sneak off and do it with someone else that he ain't got no business being with, that he's not married to. He won't do that. He'll patiently be quiet and wait, because he understands the spirituality in her and the level of spirituality and spiritual maturity that she's trying to achieve. But if she does it all the time, that's a different story. You know? But in reality in life, test that love and see if that love is love at all. Because most of the time it's lust and not love at all. Remove sex from the equation and you'll find out what you're dealing with. All right, we're going to read on. Let's go to the next one then. Thank you, sis, for bringing it up. But we done jumped and jumped and jumped. But I pray that it was all relevant to our understandings and how to move and manipulate through this thing that they call life. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. Did you have a question? Ishi, did you have a question? Oh, yeah, I thought you had a question. My apologies. All right, let's move on, please.
All right, if you're tuning in, just tuning in, or if you've been in and you haven't did this yet, please like, share, subscribe. Those of you in the chat, those of you on Facebook or YouTube, please bring forth a scripture with an explanation of your comments or your thoughts on it. Anyone else on the panel want to bring forth their scripture or here in the Knesset, please do.
I can. Oh, is it okay?
Okay, Shabbat Shalom.
Okay. My commandment is coming from Wayikra or Leviticus chapter 27. And I want to read verse 1 through 8. So it says, Now the Most High spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, Salakli, and say to them, when a man consecrates by a vow certain persons to the Creator, according to your valuation, if your valuation is of a male from 20 years old up to 60 years old, then your valuation shall be 50 shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. If it is a female, then your valuation shall be 30 shekels, and it from 5 years old up to 20. And if it is a female, then your valuation shall be 30 shekels. And if it from 5 years old up to 20 years old, then your valuation for a male shall be 20 shekels, and for a female, 10 shekels. And if from a month old up to 5 years old, then your valuation for a male shall be 5 shekels of silver, and for a female, your valuation shall be 3 shekels of silver. And if from 60 years old and above, if it is a male, then your valuation shall be 15 shekels, and for a female, 10 shekels. But if he is too poor to pay your valuation, then he shall present himself before the priest, and the priest shall set a value for him. According to the ability of him who vowed, the priest shall value him. So I think this commandment is quite literally talking about a person, or in this case, a man, giving up another person, like a family member, let's say a daughter, for example, to the house of the Creator for servitude. I think that's what's going on here. At first, I read it differently. As in, when I first read it, I read it as in like anyone in Israel made a vow and they broke it, right? And in order to repay that vow, they have to go to the Levite and confess what vow they broke, and then they paid a certain amount of money to, I guess, have it all good with the Most High, I guess. But I think actually this is quite literally talking about what the priest pays to the person who is giving up that other person. Like if I'm a mother and I'm giving away my son to the house of the Creator for servitude, or to the house of the Creator, then the Levite would see my son's age, and then according to what the Most High said, depending on the age is how much money that Levite would give me, the mother. I think that's what's happening here. And then verse 8, if he is too poor to pay the valuation. Oh, wait, if he is too poor to pay your valuation. Okay, wait. So now I'm not really sure who's paying, because then it says, if he is too poor to pay your valuation, then he shall present himself before the priest, and the priest shall set a value for him. Okay, so I guess I'm a little confused on who's paying who. I just know that someone is being offered to the house, and someone is paying them for that person, but I don't know who's paying who now. So that's my command.
What verse, what chapter and verse did you read?
Chapter 20, Leviticus 27, 1 through 8.
Start at 27 and 1.
Now the Most High spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When a man consecrates by a vow certain persons to the Creator,
Stop right
according to
there. When a man consecrates by a vow a certain person to the Most High, meaning that he sets that person apart for a certain service to the Creator.
Mhm.
All right? By a vow, he swears to that individual, swears to the Creator that he's going to do such a thing. Read on.
according to your valuation, if your valuation is of a male from 20 years old up to 60 years old, then your valuation shall be 50 shekels of silver.
Now, your evaluation, what you got to pay is 50 shekels of silver. If this person is from 20 to 60.
I
Now,
would have to pay the priest that.
person who's making the vow would have to pay for that individual. You follow me?
I think so. So if I made a vow to give my son to the Creator,
Your
I
son,
would
your
have.
father, your brother, not you as a woman, you probably wouldn't be able to do that. But as a man has authority to do certain things. So if his father is 70 years old and his son is 25, 30 years old, and he wants to dedicate him to the Most High, his valuation, he has to pay a price for that to take place. Everybody had to pay that. But I think this valuation has a different word, a different connotation, because it's like a free will offering that everybody had to give. There was a certain offering that everyone had to give at a certain year in their life, and everyone had to give whatever that amount was that the Most High required of them. You follow me? Read on, see what happens.
Verse 4, if it is a female, then your valuation shall be 30 shekels. And if it from 5 years old up to 20 years old, then your valuation for a male shall be 20 shekels. And for a female, 10 shekels. And if from a month old up to 5 years old, then your valuation for a male shall be 5 shekels of silver. And for a female, your valuation shall be three shekels of silver. And if
Later on in this chapter, he's going to talk about, we're in Leviticus 17, right?
No, 27.
Oh, Leviticus 27?
27.
Okay, go ahead. Keep reading. Leviticus.
Yes. Chapter 27, verse 7. And if it from 60 years old and above, if it is a male, then your valuation shall be 15 shekels, and for a female, 10 shekels. Verse 8. But if he is too poor to pay your valuation, then he shall present himself before the priest, and the priest shall set a value for him, according to the ability of him who vowed. The priest shall value him. That's verse 8.
All right. Well, basically, that's what we're talking about. If this person is making a vow, he promised the Creator that he would give a certain individual to the Most High for a certain task, to do a certain thing. Evaluation, that's what it's meaning. That's what it's covering. If I had my Hebrew, I could go here and look at my Hebrew to see what that word is. But it's actually like a offering in such a way. And to keep that individual, you have to pay a certain amount. If it's a woman between such and such age, it's a certain amount. It's always less than if it's a woman than it is the value for the man. It's just a different amount for the man, different amount for the woman. Because the man would bring more of a service, the woman will bring less of a service to the service of the Most High. No disrespect to the women, it's just different. Is there a question?
What do you mean to keep him?
To alleviate him from having to do that portion of the vow that you made of the service. You follow me?
Oh, okay. So that's why I have to pay, because if I gave my son to the Levite or to the house of the Creator for a certain amount of time, and then to relieve my son, I would have to pay whatever that valuation is. That's
Yes.
where we are.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like I have to, if I'm giving my son away, I have to pay to give
Away
my
to
son
who?
away.
Away to who?
Hmm?
Because you will be giving them away. You will be giving your son, your daughter, whoever it is, away to the service of the Creator. You're dedicating them to the service of the Most High for
No, I
whatever
know.
it was. So you will
Right.
be giving them away. But if you want to redeem them, or you want to get them back, or you don't want to do it, then there's a certain amount that you would have to compensate for that individual.
Kane. So that's what I was saying. Like I knew that it was a giving away. What I'm saying is earlier, I thought I misunderstood you because I thought that you were saying you give your son away, but you also pay when you give him away. And that's why I was like, wait, what? So the paying is happening when you redeem them. That's when I pay to get them back. That's what I'm saying.
Either when you redeem them or if you change your mind.
Okay.
Let me read a little bit more so I can give you a little bit more information on it, okay? Just give me
Okay.
1 second. Let me read a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I wanted to see if I could we used to offer a lot of animals to the service of the Creator as well.
That's verse 9 in my book. It goes right, chapter 27.
Animals. We used to offer animals unto the Most High as well. And if you read it, when you lead on, it should lead down into that same portion. A pretty much similar situation. Want to read it, please?
Okay, verse 9. If it is an animal that men may bring as an offering to the Creator, all that anyone gives to the Creator shall be holy. He shall not substitute it or exchange it, good for
Yeah.
bad or bad for good.
You see that? He should not substitute it, good for bad or bad for good. He has to go with what he said. Read on. Let's see what it says.
And if he at all exchanges animal for animal, then both it and the exchanged for it shall be holy.
So this is the way of getting back what you gave to the Almighty. You follow what I'm saying? Okay, let's say if your sister had a dog. Your sister had a lamb that she really loved. It was her pet lamb, it was her favorite lamb. And her father gave it away to be slaughtered or to the service because it could get pregnant and have more lambs or sheep, right? And the sister come home and say, hey, you gave away my daughter's lamb. Oh man, I done took it to the priest. Let me go get it back. Either he can exchange it for something of equal value, or he had to pay a certain amount to have it retrieved. He vowed it to the service of the Most High. Same thing with a man. Let me give you an example. There was a man whose name was Shemuel. Shemuel ended up being a great prophet of the Most High. But his mother vowed him, if the Creator would allow her to get pregnant and allow her to have a child, a male child, she would give that child to the service of the Creator all of his days. Let's say, hypothetically, she gave that child and then she changed her mind. She wanted to take that child back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this law would apply. Or let's say if she said, let's say if she said, when my child reaches the age of 15, I'm going to give him over to you, Creator. She actually said once he's weaned. But he said, let's say when my son get the age of 15, I'm going to give him over to the service of you, Creator, and I'm going to let him serve you. The child get 14, and all of a sudden she feel like she don't want to let her child go. Child turned 15. When it's his time to go, now she says, not that she can do it, her husband has to do it. She says to her husband, I don't want that to happen now. I want to keep my child. Then there's a fee that they would have to pay for breaking their vow to the Creator, not keeping their word, because they made a vow to dedicate this thing or this person to the Almighty and then change their mind. If a man, I think if you read on down further, it talks about a man dedicating his house to the Creator. Because you can dedicate your home to the Almighty. And then he wants it back after a period of time. The same thing that happened with the poor man, the priest has to come in and evaluate that home and see what the value of that home is. And that man had to pay that value to get his home back, to get access to that home again, so that it wouldn't be used for whatever the service of the Most High was. Do you follow along?
Okay.
Are there any questions with anyone? Yes, Nasi.
I'm gonna have to go in deep study on this because I'm reading it different than what you all are saying, and the way that I'm reading it is what confused Achot Autumn on, and that was the evaluation. It was a payment of evaluation, and if they redeemed it, then they was going to be penalized that 1/8. Let me go to it. I kind of view it like if we send our children to school, we got to pay for them to go to school, type thing. And and then if you violate, then you have a fee. That same concept is what I'm seeing here.
What does a violate? If you violate, what does that mean to violate?
To redeem it, like to the redeeming portion. I was just using that term violation. I know that's not what this is saying.
So we're saying the same thing. You redeemed them. You take them
Right.
back.
But I'm talking about to put them there first before redeeming. You're beginning to evaluate it, and you have to pay us 50 shekels.
Now, there's no fee for taking someone in. It's only if you show me the portion where you're thinking. Show me where that.
Verse 1-3 says this.
Which verse?
27:1.
Okay.
And again, I could be corrected. It's just how I'm viewing it. The Most High spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when a man separates a vow by your evaluation of lives unto the Most High, when your evaluation is of a male from 20 years old up to 60 years old, then your evaluation shall be 50 shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the set apart place." So the evaluation, what I'm seeing is they have, when they want to give them to the set apart place, it seems as though when I'm reading it that they're actually paying for them to take what you're giving to them. And then if you want to redeem it, since you're redeeming and taking it back, then you will have to add 1/5 to your evaluation in order to redeem it back. That's what I'm catching from it.
All right. So let's do this. Let's read from 1 all the way down to, let's say, 8, the end of 8, to verse 9. Read it slowly and let's see what it says.
And the Most High spoke to Moshe, saying, verse 1, "Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when a man separates a vow by your evaluation of lives unto the Most High."
What does that mean so far? Evaluation of lives, the value of something, correct? What you estimate is worth, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're estimating the value of one's life to the Almighty. So go ahead and read on.
When your evaluation is of a male from 20 years old up to 60 years old, then your evaluation shall be 50 shekels of silver,
So
according to.
This man is worth 50 shekels of silver. Would you agree?
I'm going to keep reading.
I mean, up to this point. If he's saying your evaluation of a man's life, he says if he's 60 years old or upward, he's worth 50 shekels of silver.
Okay.
All right.
I don't agree yet. I got to keep reading contextually. So I want to keep reading. According to the shekel of the set apart place. And if it is a female, then your evaluation should be 30 shekels. Keep reading.
Yeah.
And if from 5 years old up to 20 years old, then your evaluation for a male shall be 20 shekels. and for a female, 10 shekels.
Keep reading.
And if from a new month or moon and up to 5 years old, then your evaluation for a male should be 5 shekels of silver. And for a female, your evaluation should be 3 shekels of silver.
What verse are you on?
That was verse 6.
Okay, keep reading.
And if from 60 years old and above, if it is a male, then your evaluation shall be 15 shekels. And for a female, 10 shekels. But if he is too poor to pay your evaluation, then he shall present himself before the priest. And the priest shall set a value for him, according to the ability of him who vowed. The priest shall value him.
Keep reading.
And if it is a beast of which they bring an offering to the Most High, all such giving to the Most High is set apart.
So stop for a second. What did that part say? If it is a what?
And if it is a beast of which they bring an offering to the Most High, all such giving to the Most High is set apart.
What does that mean?
I don't think that's the same thing as the person that you're bringing.
It's
So
exactly okay. Well, I guess we just not going to agree on that part. The second part is the same thing as the first. Is just dealing with animals. If you read on it, it'll continue to explain it to you. Then it's going to go from animals to possessions.
Okay.
Each one of these things is something that you bring to the Creator and then redeem it. You redeem it at an evaluated price, and you had to pay that price in order to have it redeemed.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that part, but what is the first part? The 50 shekels of silver.
On the very first part, what he did was told you what each person is worth. If you choose to redeem them, this is what you got to pay. But if you're too poor, you can't do it, then the priest got to make the evaluation.
And then you go to the portion when it says, where is it at? Where's the 1/8? What scripture is that?
It also appears that anybody less than a month old, you can't do anything with them. They got to be older than a month.
All right. So, I mean, the 1/8 is something separate too there, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see. Hold on.
Because the 1/8 is the redeeming. That's the redeeming part.
Yeah, let's look at that. Is that 13?
Okay.
But if he indeed redeems it, then he shall add 1/5 to your evaluation. Who's paying that 1/5?
I got to read that. Let me see. One may not exchange or substitute another for it, either good or bad for good. If one does substitute one animal for another, the thing vowed in the substitution shall both be holy. Okay, we understand that part. If you substitute something that you dedicated to the Creator, it's holy. All along, we're talking about getting something back that we gave or dedicated to the service of the Creator. Verse 11. If the vow concerns any unclean animal, this is dealing with something else, that may not be brought as an offering to the holy, the animal shall be presented before the priest. Now, that 1/5 that you're talking about, or 1/3, is talking about this unclean animal being taken the place of the other thing. And the priest shall assist it, whether high or low, whatever assessment is set by the priest shall stand. Whatever the priest says the value of that is, it shall stand. And if he wishes to redeem it, if he wishes to get it back, he must add 1/5 to its assignment. Whatever the priest says is worth, he has to add 1/5 to it in order to have it returned. That's exactly what it's saying.
But add 1/5 or 1/8 to what?
To what the value that the priest said it was.
That he had to pay to the priest, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. To have it redeemed. Not given to the priest, but to have it taken back.
All right.
Iman, you had your hand up?
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Oh, I turned mine down.
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, so it made me think, I was just speaking with my sister, it made me think about a pawn shop, right? When you pawn something, they give you a amount of money for it, but if you go back next week, or even the next day, or even later that day, to redeem it, to buy it back, you have to pay them what they gave you plus another fee on top of it. I forget what it's called, but they're not gonna give you, you can't give them what they gave you, you gotta give them more.
That's
to get
correct. That's correct. Ishi, did you want to say something?
Kane, Toda. So I think it sounds like we all seem to understand that when you want it back, you pay extra. But I think the discrepancy, at least from what I'm hearing, is that let's say you don't want it back. Do you pay the priest to take it?
No.
Or do you not pay? Because if you have to add the 1/5 to get it back, then that means there was a price to begin with.
No, it doesn't. What the problem is this: the price that was begin with was whatever the priest evaluated the thing to be worth. Remember this: that portion of adding something extra to it was only talking about an unclean animal. That's all. It starts in verse 11. It's only talking about an unclean animal. If the vow concerns any unclean animal, which may not be brought at an offering to the Most High, the animal shall be presented before the priest, and the priest shall value it, and the priest shall assess it and value it, whether high or low. Whatsoever assessment is set by the priest shall stand. Now this part. And if he wishes to redeem it, once he wishes to redeem it, whatever that value was after he gave it to him for a period of time, he had to pay extra. He must add 1/5 to its assessment. When he assessed it, the priest assessed it, the value of that unclean animal, when he gave it to the priest. So that means if you take this back, this is what you got to give me to have this animal back to return to you. Can't hear you.
Right. So the priest assessed it. Did I pay the priest to assess it?
No, you didn't pay for that. When the priest assess it, right? Let's hypothetically say this. When the priest says this animal was worth 50 shekels, he'll write you a piece of paper, a contract basically, and give it to you. You give him the animal. If you come back to redeem it, your proof is right here. Well, priest, you told me 50 shekels was for this pig. You said 50 shekels. Now I want my pig back. Okay. Now he had to pay the 50 shekels, the value that the priest assessed it at, plus the 1/5. Isn't it 1/5? Yeah, he must add 1/5 to the assessment. Then he can get that animal back. But if we keep reading on, it'll clear up itself about this whole process of things. All right? So could you don't mind, Ishi, could you start at 14 and read on?
Okay. And when a man dedicates his house to be holy to the Creator, then the priest shall set a value for it.
Now stop. The same verbiage is being used. The priest is determining how much that house is worth. Now, does that man gotta pay to dedicate his house to the Creator? No. The man is saying, here, you can use this. The priest is going to say, okay, we'll use this, but if you come to redeem it, this is what its value is. Now read on, let's watch.
Okay. Whether it is good or bad, as the priest values it, so it shall stand.
Whatever value the priest gives it, it shall stand. Did you see anywhere where it said you had to pay the priest at this time? Nowhere, because you don't. It's like a receipt. It's like a contract that you're signing at this time. And watch this. Read on, please.
Verse 15, if he who dedicated it wants to redeem his house, then he must add 1/5 of the money of your valuation to it, and it shall be his.
So you see what happened? In order for him to get that house back after he's already dedicated it, he had to add 1/5 of what the priest said it was worth. Pay that money to the priest, and now it's his. He can get it back. But if he doesn't, he can't get that house back until he pays that amount. It's the same thing with people. It's the same thing with animals. It was an assessed value at the beginning of this agreement that if you come back to get this, this is what you got to pay. That's correct. All right.
Okay.
And it even goes on. Now I'm looking at 19. It goes on to talk about if he evaluated a land, if he gave some land to the creator, the priest would evaluate that. And then if he wanted that land back, he had to pay extra. He had to pay back what the priest said it was, and then pay extra.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes on. It just goes on and on and on. If he consecrates to the Most High the land he purchased, which is not the land of his holding, the priest shall compute for him the proportionary assessment up to the year of Jubilee. It's deep. This thing is deep, man. It's some good information. But basically, that's what's taking place. The Creator is saying, if you want to vow a person, well, this is the amount you have to be charged if you come to redeem that person. It's just that simple. If you want to evaluate a house and then you want it back, this is what you got to pay if you choose that you want it back. And that's just what he's saying. It's really not that difficult, but the wording is a little confusing. And I can see where the wording will cause you to think, well, hey, this don't make sense, but I understand. And it's what happens. It sometimes we get these situations. Things don't look that clear. It's really not spelled out all that simple, and it's confusing. But if you read on, it makes sense when you start to evaluate what it's saying, not just in that one spot, but through the whole chapter. It makes sense. Nowhere does it say you have to pay when you take it to me, like you're going to college or something. You're going to be a slave. You're going to serve. That's what you're going for. You don't pay to be a servant, unless you're Prince. Prince pay to be a servant. Now, Sikh might pay to be a servant, something like that. But ordinarily, it don't work that way. All right?
Okay, total.
Are we clear? Everybody cool? Any questions? Any comments? We got some comments on the side. You want to throw some of those comments up and see what the family's thinking?
I thought you read that
Which one?
when you said about the last one. I mean, Zacharias was right there.
I believe Samson's mother dedicated him to the Most High, as did the prophet Samuel's mother.
Okay. All right.
Can we dedicate others to the service of the Creator by vow without the willingness of the other? What if the individual decides he does not want to serve anymore?
He doesn't have that option if he belongs to you. If it's your child or your daughter, they can't make that option. Only you can, because you're the father. You're the head of that household. So that child, in the ancient days, it wasn't like it is today. Today, everybody make up their mind what they want to do for themselves. It didn't work like that in the ancient days. If a man had 5 sons, he had 5 sons so that they can get old enough to work the fields to bring that money into the household. Not so they can get old enough and leave. Didn't work that way. When they started getting 18, 19 years old, they started actually working in the field at a young age. And it was saving money so that we can accumulate the money in our household. When a man started to leave his house, he was 25, 30 years old when he would actually leave and go on and take his own family, start his own family. That's why men were so much older than the women that they married in the ancient days. Because a man stayed in his father's house till he's about 20, maybe 20, 25 years old. When you're able to go out to war, which was the age of 20, prior to doing that, you were still living at home with your father in your father's house. When you got around the age of warfare, which was 20 years old, is when they now go out to work. So go out to war. So now around the age of 20, 25, that man would leave his house and start building his own house. And he would go grab a woman at the age of 14. He's 25. He would take a woman at the age of 14, 15, 16 years old, wife her, and she, which is not like a 14 or 15-year-old young lady today, they're much more mature. They're used to responsibility and livelihood and doing things that they would learn it in things that we have no understanding in today. He would take that woman and he would marry her. But you don't have to take my word for it, because you might think Prince is teaching you something that's not right. Go do the research. Go research this information. Women was 14, 15 years old having children. They were so much more mature than the women that we have today. So do the research and find out. Well, how old was Abraham when he had Ishmael? Anybody know? Nobody knows?
He was old.
He was about 100 years old.
Yeah.
I believe he was like 99 or 100 years old. Well, Sarah was only 90. She was only 90, but they've been married forever. Abraham left his father's house and took a wife. He left around the age of 20, 25. So in that age. So then how old was his wife if she was 10 years younger? Do I need to say anything else? But this happens all throughout Scripture. The problem is we don't see it because we ignore it. Because today they have programmed our mind that this thing is so hideous, which today I have to agree, because the average young woman like that is not prepared for anything on that level of being a man's wife. But if we raise our children properly, and I'm talking about with responsibilities, with duties, and the way, the biblical way of life, it was totally different than how we raise children today. So don't look at it as a cruel thing, as a harsh thing, and oh man, look at this Prince teaching this stuff against. No, I'm not. I'm teaching the law. Those are the customs of our people. That's what they did. That's what our forefathers did. Are there any questions or any other comments you want to post?
There's no more.
What if the individual decides, yeah, we did that? All right. There's some commandments over here. Would you like to do those?
What commandments? I don't see any commandments.
Sister Opal.
Sister Opal's, her commandment is right here.
You shall bow down to them or serve them, for the Most High jealous.
You should not bow down.
Oh, you should not bow down to them or serve them, for the Most High is jealous.
Then her explanation is.
This is also. Oh.
Right.
My commandment is talking great image. There's some people that's her example.
Okay. All right. Very good. Total Rabbah. May the Most High be praised. Okay. Do we have anyone else?
Shabbat Shalom. I will be reading my commandment and also David's, Zuriah, and I believe more Zacharias, so I'm just waiting. If I read mine first, mine comes out of the book of Leviticus, Vayikra, chapter 11, verse 20, and it reads, all winged, swarming things that go upon all fours are a detestable thing unto you. Yet these may ye eat of all winged swarming things that go upon all fours, which have jointed legs above their feet, wherewith to leap upon the earth. Even these of them ye may eat, the locust after its kind, and the bald locust after its kind, and the cricket after its kind, and the grasshopper after its kind. But all winged swarming things which have 4 feet are a detestable thing unto you. So, of course, we didn't, people don't want to eat insects, but we're allowed to eat certain ones. But what stood out to me was it said that the swarming things that go upon all fours, which have jointed legs above their feet, wherewith to leap upon the earth. So they still have 4 legs or 4 feet, but they have to be jointed legs above their feet, wherewith to leap upon the earth. Because at the end, he reiterates, but all winged swarming things which have 4 feet are a detestable thing unto you, because they do not have jointed legs above their feet, which were to leap upon the earth, up onto the earth. So I like, that clarification, because if you just read it kind of fast and you won't see those clarifications, and a lot of times that's not even exposed. Like me reading it this time made me really understand why we could eat a cricket. And so I even thought about how we could do fried crickets for Pesach this year. And yeah. Just kidding. So, but I'm gonna read. Anything you want to say? I had to put some laughter. That was a long law we just went through.
No, you got that.
Huh?
No, you got that one. May the Most High be praised.
And Devar.
Well,
So-
let's stop there for a second.
Yes.
Remember earlier where I said that a man in his 20s can marry a girl 14 in the ancient days?
Mm-hmm.
Something that we would never do today because things was different, done differently back then.
Okay.
This law that you just brought out shows exactly like on the level of what I'm talking about. We used to eat crickets, grasshoppers, and things of that nature.
Right.
It was a delicacy. We would go out and hunt them and roast them and eat them. But today we look at, oh gosh, because we have gotten so far removed from our natural order of things that even the foods that the Creator Himself said is clean is now something that we ourselves detest. And that's why a lot of people starve today. Because a lot of people don't eat the things that's lawful. You know how much protein is inside of a cricket?
I heard.
You know how much nutrients you can get from the life of a cricket or a grasshopper? All you gotta do is roast them so that the outside, just roast them with the outside.
Well, I know if I fried some crickets, or nobody would even know.
Say it again. You great make us stop eating your food. You better stop that. Yeah.
No, this is worse.
Right. What you got in that stew?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I don't share my recipe.
Don't worry about it.
But absolutely, things have changed in today's time. We don't eat like our forefathers ate. You know, and just so you'll know, there goes Cicerone said, I'll eat it. Just so you'll know, so you know, our forefathers didn't eat meat a lot. They ate meat maybe once a month because meat was a delicacy. Oh, maybe once a month they would eat meat. Maybe sometimes once or twice a year. Because meat wasn't that prevalent in our communities in those days because a lot of people was poor. And they didn't have a whole lot of cattle. That's why Job was shouted out as being a rich man with 4,000 sheep, 10,000 oxen, and those type of things. Because now you can get a comparison to how the average person lived that never even ate meat but once or twice a year, as to Job, who had a plethora of meat constantly around him. So these things are real. Read on, please.
Yeah, what you just said, Abba, about the not eating meat, it made me think about that's where the wealth was in your flock, right? And so of course you wouldn't eat an abundance of it because that would deplete your wealth. That would deplete your, what you could trade with or what you getting the hair and the wool from the sheep or the goat to make clothes or to make, just different things to be able to sell. So that makes sense, what you're saying. And it just really brings to light, like you said, this where we are now, where we pay abundance for meat, but then most of us don't even have the money to pay for it. So it's all the things they do, but
And a lot of meat we buying today ain't even worth buying.
right, absolutely.
They glue it together in the laboratory and sell it to us. Let's read on. We're gonna go ahead with the lesson. That's a lesson for another day.
So I'm gonna read David's, Zechariah's son's law. His law can be found in the book of Exodus, Shemot, chapter 12, verse 13. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you. And let the plague not come on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Mitzrayim. His explanation is, he says, this is important because you need to put the blood on the doorpost because Yahuwah told us to. We need to follow instructions so that we don't get ourselves in trouble. Following Abba's laws can save our lives. Memorializing the blood on the doorpost for our children helps them to know how important it is to follow what Yahuwah says to.
Excellent.
Can I just say, it's like he must have been sitting in the car with us the other day, because when we were driving back from Athens, we were talking about this particular commandment, and how we talk about how we have to be in the house at a certain time or be in our covering space at a certain time, and what needs to be posted, because the angel of death, he's not knocking on doors to see if the Most High is covering you or not. He's following the instruction to wipe out everything that's in sight, that's not in, under the Most High's covering. So we were saying how almost exactly what David said. If you don't follow those instructions, you'll be wiped out.
That's right.
So that's important. I love that. And he's speaking of Pesach, actually, you guys, for those who's not aware. But he's speaking of Pesach, which we're about to commemorate in a week or so. Zeruiah's commandment comes from the third commandment, which is thou shalt not take the Most High's name in vain. Her explanation is, you shall not use his name in vain. It means you should not call yourself Yehovah, and you should not call anything him that isn't him. You cannot take his name and call your toy Yehovah. You shouldn't call your mom's name Yehovah when that isn't her name. It belongs to Abba. It belongs to Abba. We need to place his name to him only, honor his name.
Okay, very well. May the Most High be praised. Whose commandment was that?
Zeruiah.
Okay, may the Most High be praised.
Yeah. Zechariah didn't send me hers yet, so we can move on to the next person.
All right.
Vicky?
Did you give your commandment?
I did. I gave mine first.
Which one was yours?
About the crickets that I'm gonna put basil on.
Oh, I thought that one was the Royals. Very well. Next commandment. Who's that sister sitting next to you, to your right? Okay.
Is
You saying the commandment, sis?
she said no.
Okay, no problem. Most High be praised. All right. Anyone else want to say their commandment?
Want to say a commandment? Oh, Vicky's coming.
Okay.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Okay, so my thoughts might be all over the place. I didn't get a chance to actually write down what I was going to say. But Deuteronomy 4, verse 2. You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Most High your power, which I command you. So that law, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Shalom, Commissioner. I feel like it's very self-explanatory. It just reminded me of this past week in Torah culture, where like we went over the story of Joseph, and then we watched a real life, well, I guess real life movie that somebody had made on YouTube, and we compared and contrasted it, or found the accuracies and inaccuracies in the movie and in the Bible, like that. And I don't know if that would necessarily be changing the words of the Bible, but I guess it would be. And it just reminded me of that because they change around a lot of stuff, and some of the stuff in there I was like, oh yeah, that's right, because some of those movies I grew up watching them every single Shabbat or every single day or this and this and this. So I believed what the movies were saying until we went into the Bible, and it was like, oh, that's wrong. Me and my friend Mina, we were going over it together, and she loves the cartoons a lot, so she watches them all the time. Over here, like, yeah, that's right, because it was in the this and this, and then we both went back to the verse, and it was like, oh, okay. So yeah, that reminded me of that, and yes, thank you.
May the Most High be praised. To the Lord.
All right. Is there anyone else left on the? Is there anyone else left in the panel that hasn't went besides me?
Is any there?
No. Do you have a commandment that you might want to do?
Yeah.
All right. Just Antoine.
Shalom, shalom, brother Antoine.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
I got a couple of them that stood out to me.
Can you come a little closer? Can barely hear him.
How about now?
Great.
I'm going to be reading from Leviticus 19. It's kind of nice that we do these commandments like this, you know, kind of bring things to the forefront that usually is not there.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm going to read 5 through 8, then I'm going to jump to 11, and then down to 20. And when you slaughter a slaughtering of peace offering to Yahuwah, slaughter it for your acceptance. It is eaten the same day you slaughter it, and on the next day. And that which is left on the third day is burned with fire. When I think about like offerings and slaughterings today, when it comes to meat, I'm thinking about just like in generally the meat we eat. And I'm kind of looking at this as instruction on how to properly, you know, eat your meat and stay fresh and stay healthy. And if we're supposed to slaughter the meat and then have it out of our house by the third day, it kind of gives me a negative connotation to buying meat from the grocery store that's already been killed and we don't know how long it's been sitting around. So that made me think about that today. And then it also says, so if you eat at all on the third day, it is an abomination. It is not accepted. And he who eats it bears his crookedness because he has profaned the set apart offering of Yahuwah, and that being shall be cut off from his people. So I was like, I'll prefer to raise my own meat and kill it, to at least be in compliance, at least the first half of that. I'm not sacrificing per se, but I think it's a reason for it personally. Fresh meat is, I guess, important. And then number 11 stood out, of course, it's probably good to any honest person. Do not steal, do not lie. And it's real clear. I'm actually speak about
the Hebrew on this. Do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another. Can't get no more straightforward than that. And then 20 reads, and when a man has, I looked this up before I came up here. In this version, it says intercourse, but when I looked up the Hebrew, it was related to a man leaving seed, so getting a woman pregnant. When a man lays with has intercourse with a woman, and it's funny, it's thinking about today with all this acronyms going on. It said this twice. When a man lays with a woman who is a female, I thought that was funny. Engaged to another, and to be ransomed, but she has not been ransomed nor set free, there shall be an iniquity, but they are not to be put to death, because she is not free. So I didn't really understand that when I read it. So I looked up some other verses, and it was speaking to a slave girl. About her being a slave, I guess she didn't have the ability to cry out or to say no or whatever, but she was promised to another. Basically, her owner was selling her, and they call it a ransom in here. So it wasn't a death penalty by her being engaged, because she wasn't a free woman. I'm assuming if she was a free woman and she was engaged, no, all hands off. But since she was a slave girl, her, I guess her, I guess her rights wasn't her own.
Okay, read it again, please.
I'm gonna read it from a different interpretation, or a different, I think it's a different interpretation, different translation, 19 and 20. If a man lies with a, right there. 20.
Lies carnally.
Sexually, meaning he had intercourse with her.
Yeah, but when I looked up that carnally, it was related to leaving her with seed.
Yeah, but see, the reason why it says that is because we didn't just have sex for pleasure, spiritually, righteously. We had sex with purpose. And that purpose was to come in unto the woman. To come in unto the woman gave us the possibility of leaving seed. So you're actually right. When you said it, you looked that up. You're 1,000% correct.
If a man lies carnally with a woman who is a slave girl, pledged to be married to another man.
Stop right there. Stop right there. She's not engaged. She promised to another man, but she's not engaged. There is no courtship. There is no covenant made. She's just promised to be given to another man. Read on and watch what happens.
Yeah, and then also it was a big deal about her being a slave girl as well, as opposed to just a man's daughter. Let's call him pledged to be married to another man and not ransomed or given her freedom, they shall be punished. They shall not be put to death.
But not ransomed or given her freedom. The not ransomed part meaning that nobody paid for her.
Yeah, he hasn't actually took possession yet.
Yes. So if he had to pay for her, she would have been accounted for, but she wasn't. You remember the story in Exodus, the 21st chapter, where we talked about slave women going out, a man buying a slave woman but marrying her, or if he bought her for his son, the procedures that he would have to take. Well, this is what we're talking about right here. But this man never paid for her. He never paid for this young lady. Where you go?
All I got.
Where you go?
I said, toe dot. That was all I got.
Well, we wasn't finished.
I was listening.
Oh, you went way in the back.
Yeah, you coming through loud and clear. We can hear you real good.
Yeah, but you did good, man. That was a great commandment. And thank you for capitalizing on that, bringing it out. It's one that we have forgotten for many years. I haven't heard that commandment in a long time. Toda Rabbah for bringing it up. May the Most High be praised.
Autumn said, isn't promise the same as pledged and betrothed?
No, not betrothed. Promise means, well, you know what? I like her. I'm going to come back and get her. That's a promise. A betrothal, you enter into that covenant. That's totally different. You actually enter into the process, the covenant, and you seal it. She's yours. She ain't supposed to be with nobody else. But a promise just means you look at something, you saw it, and somebody said they wanted it, but they ain't put no money up. They ain't backing up with no words. They might have said they're coming back next month, anything. But she was found to have been with somebody else. She's not put to death. There is a difference. Like I call my buddy up and say, yo, well, it don't matter until you actually put up and you enter that covenant, then it's a covenant, it's a betrothal. But until then, no, it's not. Two different things.
All right. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, like, and share. And if you have any scripture, please post your scripture and we will read it along with your explanation. I guess I'll bring forth mine. Did everyone go? That's here.
You got it.
All right, mine is Wa'ikra 18, Leviticus 18, verse 1 through 5, and it reads, and the Most High spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, I am the Most High, your Elohim. Do not do as they do in the land of Mizraim, where you dwelt, and do not do as they do in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you, and do not walk in their laws. I'll stop there by saying we can utilize this same commandment in the times that we are now, but it does not mean do not do everything. This is simply talking about not worshiping other deities. Anything that's against the laws that we have, that's going against serving the Most High properly, because there are laws in wherever you're at that is for your benefit and is for your good, is for your safety, your family. If you are one that's not within the community, even though it's still not great safety because it takes 20, 30, 40 minutes for them to get there, so you might still die or get killed. That's the truth. But that doesn't mean don't follow those laws. That is simply talking about the servitude of other deities and anything that's going against the Most High. It says, do my right rulings and guard my laws to walk in them. I am Yah, your Elohim. And when you actually look at some of the laws of the land that we are in, they take from our Torah as well, and a lot of things, a lot of different laws. So this is simply just speaking on the things that's going against what's put within our Torah. Zelle.
May the Most High be praised. And my screen just froze on me just now. Can I be heard?
Okay.
Okay, my screen just froze. I don't know how long it's going to be frozen, but if it dies, it dies. I'll just keep on. We'll keep on doing. All right. Are there any other commandments? Is there anything we need to post?
Hello.
All right, Sister Anit, you ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely.
All right. So what we'll probably get done today is one chapter out of the book of Numbers, chapter 27. Can a female inherit the promise? Now, the promise being the things that is left behind in the covenant that the Creator gave as a land covenant to the children of Israel. Usually, the promise is the thing that the Creator gave to the children of Israel dealing with land and his possessions. When a man passes away, his possessions supposed to go to his firstborn son. And if he doesn't have a firstborn son, it is supposed to go to the firstborn male of his father's household. Y'all follow me so far? Or his brother. If he got a brother, then it goes to his brother. So a female could be living with a man for 50 years and be his wife. And a man passed away, she had to go live up underneath of a man to provide for her. Do y'all remember the story of Ruth? When Naomi's husband passed, Naomi was an older woman. A lot of people don't pick up on this part in the story of Ruth, but Ruth was also looking for a home, a man to be her covering. So when Boaz took Ruth, he actually took Naomi as well, and he covered Naomi as well. Y'all follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
Am I coming through muffled or am I okay?
Clear.
Because I hear some feedback. Isha, you might have to mute your
It's
phone.
an echo a little bit.
Yeah, mute your phone. Okay, did that help? Ima, is your phone muted? Now see, okay, there you go. Is that better now? All right.
Crystal.
All right, there you go. So, Sister Ornette, you're the only one that I guess can open up their mic because everybody else is giving us feedback. I don't understand why. And they're all the way in 700 and something miles away, but they're giving feedback. I don't understand that portion. But Naomi, in her older age, was also looking for a covering. And she found it in Boaz. Boaz didn't just take care of Ruth, who was his direct wife. He also covered Naomi and took care of her. Okay? So these are things for you to have to understand that when a woman was older and she had a husband, he passed on, his possessions went to his sons. If he didn't have any sons, then it went to his brothers. If he didn't have any brothers, then it went to his father's lineage. Those are the things you have to have in mind. It didn't go to his wife. Like over here in America, how they got it set up, things go to your wife after you pass on, but in the ancient days, it didn't go that way. Well, this man we're about to read about, he had daughters. He didn't have any sons. He had all daughters. And he's going to pass away. So can a female inherit the promise? The answer is no, she can't. So you don't get it. It don't go to you. It goes to the male lineage. If you don't have a male, a brother, a father, or uncle, then you wouldn't inherit it being a female. So these sisters felt that pressure. So they're going to get together, the sisters, I think it's 4 of them, and they're going to go to Moshe, the elders, and the princes of the people to bring up a cause or what they see as a flaw in the laws of the Creator, something that they wasn't pleased with. You know what the Most High did? The Most High heard their cause, and he allowed them to possess things that was previously forbidden for the female to possess. All right? All right. Ima, you had a question? A comment? Can't hear you. Ima, did you want to say something?
It was 5 daughters.
Oh, yeah, 5. Okay. I didn't know if it was 4 or 5. Milcah, Noah, Hagla, who else? Tirzah, and one more.
Mahla.
Who? Mala.
Mahla. That's the first one.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the first one, her name is something like disaster. Her name means disaster. And I guess that they named that because his whole life was a disaster because all he had was female daughters. He didn't have any male descendants. In ancient cultures, it was extremely important that you had men children so that the men can get out in the fields and work, help you to produce, help you to make money. Women wasn't as valued as male seeds because we were a Gregorian people. We lived off of the land. And women wasn't as strong as the men. Therefore, they wasn't as valued until it was to bring about children. Even in a household where there was no women and it was just men, the men did all the work. So the women didn't really work out in the fields unless you had women. And if you had women, they were taught to work the fields. They just couldn't do everything like a man. But male seed was always desired in the ancient cultures. All right? No disrespect to my sisters. We can't do it without y'all. But that's not where we're coming from right now. All right? Sister Ornette, you about ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go.
Reading from the book of Numbers, chapter 27, verse 1. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh.
Now, who is Manasseh? Anybody know who Manasseh is?
Joseph's son.
Yes, he was the son of Joseph. Read on, please.
The son of Joseph. And these are the names of his daughters: Mahlah, Noah, and Haglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moshe, and before Eleazar the priest, and before the princes, and all the congregation, by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying.
So now, these sisters, I love this. These sisters had a discrepancy with the law. They didn't like the way that something was being done. So you know what they did? They went to their leadership. They didn't sit back and complain and take it to the people and start an uproar in the midst of the people. They didn't do that. What they did was they took it to the leadership. They took it to the proper channels so that their voice can be heard. They did things respectfully and not disrespectfully. Excuse me. So many people in today's time have problems with leadership, and what they do is they go behind the scenes and talk to the people to stir up a riffraff and then eventually break up the community. That's not the proper way we're supposed to handle our problems. We're supposed to take our problems directly to the leadership so that we can sit down and discuss these things. And not enough of us have that type of insight nor wisdom. So, Creator willing, in the future, we will. Read on, please.
Verse 3. Our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them who gathered themselves together against the Most High, in the company of Korah, but died in his own sin and had no sons.
He died in his own sins. He didn't have any sons, and he was not one of those who was in the company of Korah. So he had nothing to do with what Korah and his 240 men that went up against Moshe and Aharon in the wilderness. He had nothing to do with that. Read on, please.
Verse 4. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family? Because he had no son.
So their question, and I don't know if a lot of people paid attention to this, they wasn't just seeking for land, but they said that our father's name might live on. Their question was, why should the name of our father be done away with because he doesn't have any sons? He actually answered his own question. She actually answered her own question. Because he had no sons. And a man's name must be reborn through his son. That's how he reproduces his spirit in the earth. Not through his daughters, but through his sons. That is key, and that's another important reason why men wanted to have male seed. That part of the law, if you watch, was never addressed. It's not going to be addressed. But what was addressed is the rest of their issues and their concerns. But what they're basically asking is, why can't we inherit what belongs to our Father? Read on, please.
Give unto us, therefore, a possession among the brethren of our father. And Moshe brought their cause before the Most High. And the Most High spoke unto Moshe, saying, The daughters of Zelophehad speak right. Thou shalt surely give them a possession of an inheritance amongst their father's brethren, and thou shalt cause the inheritance of their father to pass unto them.
Now, what I would like for you to do again, sis, is read that portion again, this time slowly.
Verse 4. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family, because he has no son? Give unto us, therefore, a possession among the brethren of our father.
Give unto us a possession among the brethren of our father. Give us to our cousins or our distant cousins, but give us to our family so that our father's name can still continue to live on. But let me explain this to you. The women don't have the ability to cause their father's name to live on, but his brother's children, they do. His brother's sons, they do. Because the man's seed is carried through the man's child. That means that the man's father produced both of these two sons. Their father, Zelophehad, and whoever his father was, that their father's spirit was in both of those two men. That meant that a portion of both of those men were in each other. They both carried a portion of their father's essence, their father's spirit, being a man. I was accused the other day of going too deep spiritually with these conversations with y'all. Somebody accused me of having these deep teachings spiritually that nobody don't want to follow. It's real simple. It was very important for a man to have a man child so his name could live on. But once a man has male offspring, each one of those offsprings that are male carry a portion of his spirit. Therefore, his name can live in each one of those children. So if each one of those children have a portion of the father, then that means that each one of those sons can be reborn through their brother. That's why the Creator had the Levitical law, the Levirate law, that says if your brother dies and he doesn't have a male seed, then his wife has to marry his brother to raise up name for the brother who has been deceased. Y'all remember that law? That's when it applies. All right? Read on, please.
Verse 5. And Moshe brought their cause before the Most High. And the Most High spoke unto Moshe, saying, The daughters of Zelophehad speak right. Thou shalt surely give them a possession of an inheritance amongst their father's brethren.
Now stop for a second. Them sisters didn't go and ask for any land. They didn't say we want some land. They didn't say we want to take over our father's name. They didn't do all those things. What they really was saying was that we don't want to be left out of the inheritance of our fathers. So therefore, the Father, the Creator, understood that. And what the Creator said was, okay, marry them to their brothers. Now I'm going to bring out something that's extremely important that a lot of us don't know. A lot of y'all who walk with Beulah, you should know. But a lot of y'all who are just tuning in this year, because I don't think we taught this in about a year. Watch what's about to take place. Read on, please.
And thou shalt cause the inheritance of their father to pass on to them. And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a man die and has no son,
and have no sons,
then ye shall cause his inheritance to pass unto his daughter.
Then he shall cause his inheritance to pass on to his daughters. But there are specifications to this. And here are the specifications. Read on.
Verse 9. And if he has no daughter, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his brethren. And if he has no brethren, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his father's brethren. And if his father have no brethren, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his kinsman who is next to him of his family, and he shall possess it.
So, yes, we're talking about land, family, but we're not just talking about land. We're talking about everything that he owned, his land, his cattle, his wealth, his gold, his silver, anything else that he owned, his slaves, whatever it was that was used as increase, it all belonged to the man. If he died and didn't have any children, his inheritance went to his brother, his uncle, and then his tribesmen. That's what his inheritance went to. But now his daughters was his wealth as well. Now, why was his daughters his wealth? Because a man would take his daughter and sell her into marriage to another man, thereby increasing his wealth. Do y'all follow me so far?
Okay.
So that's also a symbol of his possessions. The Creator didn't give the women land. The Creator gave the women a possession. That possession was transferred back into the tribe. You don't see it yet, but it's going to go back into the tribe by the women marrying their cousins. Read on. Let's see if it's in that portion, sis.
And it shall be unto the children of Israel a statute of judgment, as the Most High commanded Moshe. And the Most High said unto Moshe, get thee up into his...
Stop there for a second. Hold that point. Go to chapter 36. It's 36 and 1. Is that the right place?
Okay.
Read on, please.
Reading from the book of Numbers, chapter 36, verse 1. And the principal fathers of the families of the children of Gilead, the son of Mashir, the son of Manasseh, of the family of the sons of Joseph, came near and spoke before Moshe, before the princes, the principal fathers of the children of Israel. And they said, the Most High commanded to give the land for an inheritance by lot to the children of Israel. And he was commanded by the Most High to give the inheritance of Zelophehad, our brother, unto his daughters. And if they be married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel, then shall their inheritance be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be put to the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they received.
Now let me explain to you what's taking place. The daughters of Zelophehad took on his inheritance. If any of those women were to marry somebody outside of the tribe of Manasseh, their inheritance was taken away from them because it was given to another tribe. They didn't want that to happen. The Creator gave the inheritance to remain within a certain tribe for good. So let me explain to you what's taking place, family. The thing that I said that you probably didn't hear, never heard before. If you were from the tribe of Manasseh, you was only supposed to marry, you being a female, was only supposed to marry the tribe of Manasseh. If you was from the tribe of Judah, you was only supposed to marry from the tribe of Judah. You wasn't supposed to switch your inheritance to another tribe. You wasn't supposed to. Read on. Let's see if he clears it up for us. What verse are you on, sis?
I'm at the end of verse 3.
All right, read 3 again, please.
Verse 3. And if they be married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel, then shall their inheritance be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be put to the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they received. So it shall be taken from the lot of our inheritance.
So this was their complaint, that if anybody married these daughters who had a possession that was of another tribe, that inheritance that they had gathered from their father would go to that tribe that they married. So if any of these daughters from Manasseh, Zelophehad has daughters from the tribe of Manasseh, if they married a Judite, then that Judite would inherit land that belonged and other possessions that belonged to Manasseh. Therefore, they were only supposed to marry of the same tribe. But let's read on.
Verse 4.
These people was complaining to Moshe of the possibility of them losing land. Read on, and other things too, but I'm going to say land primarily.
Verse 4. And when the Jubilee of the children of Israel shall be, then shall their inheritance be put unto the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received. So shall their inheritance be taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers.
So that meant that Manasseh would lose out on that portion of that inheritance. Is there anybody who do not understand yet? All right, sis, read on, please.
Verse 5. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel according to the word of the Most High, saying.
Watch these commands that the Most High gave to Moshe to say. Read on.
The tribe of the son of Joseph has said well, this is the thing which the Most High doeth command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best, only to the family of the tribe of their father shall they marry.
They could only marry the tribe of Manasseh. They couldn't marry the tribe of Judah. They couldn't marry Zebulun. They couldn't marry Issachar. They could only marry the tribe of Manasseh. But he's going to get a whole list. Watch this. Read on, please.
Verse 7. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel move from the tribe to tribe. For everyone of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of their fathers.
Verse 7, 36 and 7. Numbers 36 and 7. It says that the children of Israel should not be marrying outside of their tribe. If they do, they lose that inheritance. He's not saying it's forbidden, but what he's saying is, if you do, you lose the inheritance that came along with you keeping it, that bloodline in your lineage. Read on, watch this.
Verse 8. And every daughter who possesses an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel shall be wife unto one of the family of the tribe of her father, that the children
married. If she received inheritance, she had to be married to the tribe of her father. Every daughter of the children of Israel, she cannot marry wherever she wants because that inheritance would be lost. Read on.
That the children of Israel may enjoy every man in the inheritance of their father. Neither shall the inheritance be transferred from one tribe to another tribe, but every one of the tribes of the children of Israel shall keep himself to his own inheritance.
every one of the tribes of the children of Israel, male and female, shall keep themselves to their own inheritance, which meant that they were supposed to marry their own tribes. Read on, please.
Verse 10. Even as the Most High commanded Moshe, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. For Mahlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, and Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, were married unto their father's brothers' sons.
They married their cousins. But read on, there's something else there.
And they were married into the family of the sons of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of the family of their father. These are the commandments and the ordinance which the Most High commanded by the hand of Moshe unto the children of Israel in the plains of Moab by the Jordan near Jericho.
All right. So you can jump back to Numbers 27 now, sis, and pick up where you left off. So just for those who were patient enough to hang in there for the majority of the day on this second half of class, you've learned something today if you didn't already know it. But in reality, Israelite male and female were supposed to only marry within their tribe to keep their inheritance alive. The thing is, with a male, by a male marrying a female outside of his tribe, he don't lose his inheritance because his inheritance comes with the man. But for the female who inherited something, she will lose her inheritance because her inheritance had to stay in the tribe of her father's household. But there are so many Israelite women in Israel that did not receive an inheritance. They could marry any tribe they wanted because they didn't have an inheritance. Y'all follow that? All right. Any other questions pertaining to what we just read thus far? Are there any questions? All right. No questions? Let's read on, please.
Reading from the book of Numbers, chapter 27, verse 12. And the Most High said unto Moshe, Get thee up into this mount Abarim, and see the land which I have given the children of Israel. And when thou hast seen it, thou also shalt be gathered unto thy people, as I have owned.
He said, Moshe, get you up so you can see what I'm about to bless your people with. But after you've seen it, you're going to die. You're going to be gathered to your people. Can you imagine this? The Most High telling you you're about to leave this place? Nowhere will we see where Moshe was sad and upset and boo-hooing and crying like he didn't want to leave this existence. The Western man has taught us that that death is so horrible. They gave us that understanding. Our people would die for honor. Our people would die for their family. And if we were at war, we would rather die, be taken in war, as our lives be taken in war, than for us to live as a slave. That's why so many of our forefathers jumped off of those ships as they crossed the Atlantic Ocean, because they would rather die in warfare than to be taken as a slave and have to serve the enemy. Today, oh man, not today. Black folk would rather be a slave and work for the white or any other oppressor for any reason that they can find, as opposed to fighting for their freedom. And if they can't get freedom, they would rather die. Not in today's world. Not in today's world. Read on, sis, please.
Verse 13. And when thou hast seen it, thou also shalt be gathered unto thy people, as Aharon thy brother was gathered.
Now, first thing he's going to tell them to do, get your house in order. Go pick your successor who's going to come after you. And then he's going to go pick them himself. Watch how this takes place. Too many people had never done this. And Joshua lost charge because Joshua did not do it at the time of his demise. When Joshua passed on, he did not pick someone to take the reins after him. And that's when all chaos, all turmoil, and all confusion fell out. Because there was nobody in charge to take over after Joshua's death. Nobody anointed, nobody handpicked, nobody chosen before all the people to witness that this man is going to take over if anything happens to Joshua. But it was done by Moshe to Joshua before all the elders, before the priests, and before all the people. Read on, let's see, sis.
Verse 14. For ye rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, and the strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes.
So you lost your life. And the only sin that was mentioned was that one sin. And was Moshe perfect? Absolutely. Absolutely. At the time that the Father takes you out from this land of the living, how many things can he show you that were your sins and held accounted against you? So Moses got to live to be 120 years old. And at the time of his demise, the only thing the Most High brought out and said was the reason for his death was one sin. Well, two, but in one. Read on, please.
That is the water of Meribah in Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. And Moshe spoke unto the Most High, saying, let the Creator, our power, of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation.
See what he said? He ain't selfish. He didn't cry. He didn't boo-hoo. He ain't say, oh no, Creator, no. Give me 50 more years. He didn't do any of that. He accepted what the Most High said. That's why Moshe was so unique. He was so unique. He said, Creator, I'm only concerned about the future of our people. He said, I'm only worried about the future of Israel. So please set up somebody to take my place. Read on, please.
Verse 17.
Walk and serve the people so that they don't go astray. Read on.
Verse 17. Who may go out before them, and who may go in before them, and who may lead them out, and who may bring them in?
He loved
that the congregation.
So much. He loved the people so much that even on the sound of hearing that he's about to lose his life and be taken from the land of the living, his concern was the people over his own life. He knew he had did his job. He said, Creator, take care of these people, please. Read on, please.
That the congregation of the Most High be not as sheep that have no shepherd. And the Most High said to Moshe, take thee Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom the Spirit, a man whom is the Spirit, and lay thy hand upon him, and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation.
Now Joshua, in reality, Joshua was being groomed for this job. He was being groomed. When Moshe went up into the mountain for 30 days and 30 nights, Joshua was at the foot of the mountain. When Moshe would go and commune with the Creator, Joshua was right there at the door of the tabernacle, just waiting. Joshua was a man who proved that he was worthy of the position that he was given. Today, not enough people do that. Oh, we going to pick him because we like him. But what works has he put in? What has he achieved? What has he accomplished in life that you're going to put him in a position of leadership over the Most High's people? But today's people, that's how we move. We move of our emotions. Well, I've never heard anything bad about him. Usually if you hear something bad about a person, it's because he's doing something. And the jealous people are the ones standing up, making all the noise about the individual. We go off our emotions. Or he look good. Or he tall. Or he got a couple of dollars. He got a nice car. He got a nice family. He could be our leader, and he's a fool. Where you going to lead you to? He's going to lead you so that you can continue to remain in a house of worship, paying tithes, paying duties, paying him for his bills so he can live a luxurious life while you suffering, while you aching to go home, while your electric is off, your lights are off, but you're going to elect this man to be in position, never went to the Most High, asked the Most High, is this man worthy? All because he looked good, or he got a couple dollars, or he talked good. But he never earned the right to be your spiritual leader. What does he ever fought for? What is his life like when he's not standing on the pulpit teaching Torah or his version of Torah? How is his judgment, like the sister brought the commandment earlier? How is his judgment? Does he allow his children to sit in a sacred seat that if somebody else in the family might have done that, somebody else in the public might have done it, they would have been excommunicated? But because this is your child, you give him a pass? Is he one of those type of men or males who sit in a position of leadership? Or he's really truly one who's after the Most High's heart, who make the sacrifices that are needed to bring down the spiritual blessings upon those people who walk with him? Is he one of those people? Because you got to check these people. Don't just go because this person got a lot of followers, because he got a lot of people on his team. Go check how he moves. Go check how he thinks. Challenge him, test him, and see if he's worthy to be your spiritual leader. What are the characteristics and the traits that he have that you would like to see inside of you? And if he's been standing here teaching you for the last 20 and 30 years, and y'all still in the same place where y'all first started, and nothing's changed, and you're paying rent to somebody, he's not worthy to be a teacher. Because to teach the people of the Most High is about progression, not stagnation. And a lot of Israel today are stagnant. They got big talks, but they're doing very, very little. They got big ideals, but they do nothing to achieve those ideals. Oh, by next year at this time, we're going to own us a new house, a new building. We're going to have another building where we're going to have 50 more seats where we can congregate 50 more people. 10 years from now, we're going to get us another building with 50 more seats to congregate 50 more people, and never did it, never achieved it. Other things will come in, get in the way, and take us away from our goal. Sometimes a man will set a goal and the Creator has something else in mind. It just takes a little longer for him to achieve his goal. But it ain't going to take him 15 and 20 years in the same place with no growth, no development, just a whole bunch of this coming out of his mouth because he remembered the laws of the Creator that somebody taught him when he was young, coming up. It's not good. That's not good leadership. That's not good leadership. And if you want to watch a good leader, watch how he leads his home. Because a good leader will even lead his home correctly. Where a lot of males today, this chaos. He didn't have about 3 or 4 different wives, and ain't got none of the ones that he had that he started out with. Why is that? It ain't like he adding multiple women to his life. He's deleting, add, delete, subtract, add, delete, subtract, and now he's by himself after running through 15 different women in the last 10 years. And you say he's your spiritual leader. Check these people. Don't just let them stand up and represent the Almighty in your life. Check them. Make them prove their worth. Anybody in your circle, you make them prove themselves until you're satisfied. But once you become satisfied, then you leave it all alone and you open up your heart, your soul, everything you got, and give the best you can to help that brother, that sister move forward in the works that they have by the Creator. There should be no restrictions on what you are willing to do. None. But you make sure that they're worth it before you do such a thing. Read on, sis, please.
Verse 19. And set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight. And thou shalt put some of thy honor upon him.
Thou shalt put some of thy honor. Whoa. Why is it so important that a leader has honor? Why is it so important that your leadership walk in their integrity? Why is it so important that you can trust your leadership? Do you know that in today's world, a lot of people don't trust their leadership? That a lot of people, leaders, do not have honor, do not have trust or love for them at all? Because it's not about that with them. They really don't care about the people. They care about their immediate family, but that's about it. The only thing they care about those people is that they come to Shabbat service every day, or they log into their Zoom room so that their numbers can be inflated. Big numbers don't mean that the Creator's there. That's not what that means. Because if you think about it for a minute, let's think about this. If this man is truly teaching the word of the Most High, and all the people are full of corruption, why would they want to go there to listen what this man got to say? And all he's going to do is condemn them in his teachings and in his lessons. He's just going to condemn them. So why would a multitude of sinners flock to a house of righteousness just to be condemned? People gather to people who speak their language. So if you notice leadership is a wicked man, he's going to have a whole lot of wicked people with him. That's what's going to happen. His spirit can communicate and relate to their spirit. Now, if you walk in with a wicked man as an innocent person and you're truly trying to serve the Creator, eventually the Most High will take you out of there. Once you get what you need, he'll move you on to somebody that's really serving him. But you know how they say that an evil man brings about an evil wife? Same thing with an evil servant. If an evil servant wants to live evil but call themselves a servant of the Creator, then their spirit will gravitate toward other evil spiritual leaders. And they will be at peace with that. They will be at peace. If you don't believe me, look around, check it out. Do your research and check it out. Look at the corruption that takes place in Israel today. And I'm talking about the real corruption. And look at the leadership and see what type of leadership they got. And you won't be surprised because you heard this in the lesson. Read on, sis, please.
Verse 20. And thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient.
Do you see how that, hold up a second, sis.
Okay.
Do you see how that connection ties together? That Moshe will take some of his honor and put it on Hoshea. And once he puts it on Hoshea, the people will see that and it will increase their obedience to him. Because a righteous leader brings about righteous individuals. But wicked leadership will bring about wickedness in the people. And that's what so many people don't understand. If your spiritual leader ain't on point, there's almost no way that you being on point is going to remain in his circle for too long. That's why when I hear a lot of people get up and say, I want to thank my spiritual leader, and this man is a plug, a straight, wicked, nasty, wicked person, I say to myself, wow, how? But that's what they do. That's what we have been trained to do. That's what we learned to do. And in our mind, we're doing the righteous thing. We are. In our mind, we're doing the righteous thing. But I wonder if they ever carefully investigated the individual's life that they're so busy to give out honor and praise, reverence and respect to. I wonder if they ever carefully, and most of the times we don't. Most of the times we just follow along. We never challenge, we never test, and we don't see any works. The only works we see is a lot of people coming and gathering into that place. That's it. There may be some works as a community, like the community might go out and feed the poor sometime. The community might. But what's really in the heart of that person that sits in the position of leadership? Because, you know, the people have gotten together to decide to do that. But that wicked man or that wicked woman will be hidden. And there's no accountability then. But you are really walking because you are impressed with numbers. You're not impressed with righteous deeds. But righteous deeds is what should impress you. We're really impressing. We want to give these people these big shout outs because they've been maintaining at least 400 or 500 people in the class every week. So we give them shout outs for that. And they don't earn it. They haven't deserved it. In my opinion, they haven't deserved it because what was the work that they did to show themselves worthy of being in a position of leadership? Let's read on, sis. Yahashua, he served the country. He served the nation. He sat at the right hand of Moshe, studied, learned, and listened as a humble servant. He absorbed all that Moshe had to pay. He didn't challenge Moshe. Show me one time in the Tanakh where Yahashua, Hoshea, challenged Moshe. Not once. Not once. He obeyed, he listened, and he gave an honest report. He walked in his integrity. He came back with an honest report when all the other men lied. He couldn't do that. Him and Caleb. They spoke the truth. So it showed the caliber of men that they were. Yahashua was a hell of a young man who showed himself to be honorable, respectful, loyal, loving, truthful, and committed to the cause, to the people. A righteous servant. That's right, Ishi. Nima. It's exactly what he was. And he was loyal to his leadership. Yahashua will go to war with Moshe to take people out. How many of us are really willing to go to war with our leadership today? How many of us will even fight to defend the honor of our leadership today? Not many. Not many. Yahashua will go to war to defend the honor of Moshe. David's men. One part I fell in love with David's men. He was such an honorable man. He was such an honorable man. When he would go out to war, he would come home with the booty, the spoil of the wars, and he would share it with the men that didn't even go to war. That's how honorable David was. David was such a powerful leader who earned the right to be in a position of leadership. He earned that right. Not just because he looked good, not just because he was flamboyant, not because he had any money, but because of his honor, his integrity, his loyalty to the people and to the Most High. He earned the right to be in position of leadership. So much that one day they was fasting, and David said, I'm hungry. And his men went out into the enemy's camp, snuck in the enemy's camp, and stole honey and something else for David to eat. They bring it back to David because he was starving, he was hungry. They bring it back to David and say, here, my master, here, eat this. David said, how'd you get this? They said, we went in there and we risked our lives to go get it for you. Thinking that would make him say, hey, man, that's great. David wouldn't eat it. Because David valued the men's lives more than he valued filling his stomach. He said, don't never do something like that ever again. I value your life. Your life is important. I'm just hungry. I can eat later. He just hid it. that he had a need or a desire. He just hinted to it. Now, I love the men's desire to please the king. I love that. That's the type of brotherhood that I'm talking about. That's that real stuff. They just heard that he had a need, and they was risking their lives to fulfill that need. But Dawid was more honorable than that. Dawid said, I would never have you risk your life just to feed. That's the type of man Moshe was. That's the type of man Yahushua was. That's the type of man you need to have as your leadership. And if you can't find that man, you keep searching for that man until the day comes that you find him. Because that's the type of leadership that we need to get out of the condition that we're in today. Most people don't trust the man that they lay right next to. Can't trust him. The brother you walk to Shabbat service and sit up underneath every Shabbat, you can't trust him. Well, Moshe, Yahushua, King Dawid, they wasn't those type of men. They were men who earned the right to have the title leadership. A lot of males today, what they do is they give themselves titles of nobility and put themselves in positions of leadership. Oh, I'm Moray. How long you been in this way of life? 2 years, 2.5 years. My name Moray Hezekiah Bam Bada Bam Buddha. That's my name. And write it in Hebrew too. And you better not call them outside of that. They will fight you for it. A lot of men give themselves these positions, these titles. That's not good. That shows the arrogance of a man. Moshe tried to run from the position of leadership because he knew what was involved. But the Most High knew Moshe. And he knew that he was the perfect man for the job at that time. He tried to run from it. After a while, you can't run anymore. You got to give it all you got. You got to give it all you got. Read on, sis, please.
Verse 21. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of Urim before the Most High.
Now, who is it that shall stand before Eleazar the priest? His name is Yahushua. He's the one who's going to be the successor to Moshe. His leadership order under him, because the buck stops with the leader. It stops right there. Everybody else can make a decision. All the priests, all the princes, all the Levites, they can all the elders, they can all make decisions. But if Moshe say no, the answer is no. If Yahushua says no, the answer is no. It stops right there, that leadership. A wise man will never try to lead anything by himself. A wise man, a wise leader, a wise man will always put the most intelligent of the people around him to help him in his decision making. Of course, he has the last say, but he will largely sway his own opinion based on the multitude of counsel. A wise leader will. A foolish leader will go in his emotions and make decisions based off of his own emotions. And he will soon meet his own destruction. May the Most High be praised. Read on, sis.
At his word shall they go out, and at his word they shall come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, even all the congregation.
At his word they shall move. At his word they shall stand still. Read on.
And Moshe did as the Most High commanded him. And he took Joshua and set him before Eleazar the priest and before the congregation. And he laid his hands upon him and gave him charge as the Most High commanded by the hand of Moshe.
He did all that for what reason? He did all that so that the people would know beyond a shadow of a doubt who was next in line to take over after Moshe's death. So there was never a question. And that's something that we don't do often as males, as men, as leaders, as teachers. We don't set up an order of succession for the people to see. We let the people choose who they like. We let these people choose who they like, who they think will best fit in the position. And never once did we question the Creator. We let the people choose who has the most following, and we go with that individual or those individuals. And that's who we side up with. And that's not the way it should be done. Read on, please, sis, and bring it to a closure.
That was the last of that chapter.
Oh, and he laid his hands upon him and gave him charge. When he laid his hands upon him, he fulfilled the part where he gave him a portion of his honor upon him. Spiritually, it went from him to him. You remember when Elisha was talking to the Creator about Elijah? Talking to Elisha. Elisha was talking to Elijah. Elisha was Elijah's servant. He was his servant. He walked with Elijah. He served Elijah. And he was a prophet. And Elijah asked him, what is it that you will want from me? Elisha had so much, Elisha has so much respect for Elijah, Eliyahu. He had so much respect for him that he said, I would want a double portion of your spirit. That's a powerful thing. For a man to honor you so much that he would want a double portion of your spirit says a whole lot about how that man feels about you. That's some powerful stuff, man. He said to Elisha, he said, if you see me when I'm taken up, then you shall get it. That meant let the Most High decide if you can get that. So Elisha was standing down on the ground, looking up. Elijah was taken up in the whirlwind, and Elijah's mantle, something that belonged to him, fell down. And Elisha picked it up. Elijah's spirit was upon it. He got that double portion that he asked for. That his spirit, anything that belongs to that man, if you take what belongs to that man or was gifted to you, you're taking a portion of that man's spirit with you. You got to understand that, family. That's how that thing works. It's a powerful thing. If you don't want a portion of that man's spirit, then pay him for it. Give him a couple dollars for it. And that'll remove his spirit from it and put your spirit upon it. But if you don't have a problem with that man or that individual and how he serves his maker, then gladly accept it. Gladly. If you go into the home of someone as an Israelite man and they offer you something, and I'm telling y'all this because I need you to understand that I care about you. And I want you to care about yourself. And these people are pagans, and you know they're worshiping deities and doing all that type of stuff that you shouldn't be doing nothing with. And they offer you to eat, and you come in and you eat their food, then you're eating the food to sacrifice to devils. You get a portion of their spirit upon you. That's why the Creator tells us not to do it. But our forefathers did it heavy. We even took their women and married their women and had sex with their women and had children with their women. So how much more of our spirit and their spirit was being intermingled? So bad that Ezra had to go back and say, y'all, they came to Ezra, they said, Ezra, we want to give up all of our children and our foreign wives because we want to get right with the Most High. That was a very, very hard and difficult thing for them to do. But they wanted to please the Most High so much that they were willing to do it. How many of us today is willing to give back a woman that we had for 10 years who's just straight wicked, who don't serve the Creator, don't go to no Shabbat services, and make no attempt to stop eating the pork, the crabs, the shellfish? And I know y'all got some. I know you got some. But you say, I can still serve the Creator. I'm all right. No, you're not, bro. Because if you married to this woman, all the sins that she do is on your head, because y'all are one in the righteous order of things. Y'all one. You can't have your woman half dressing out in the streets, acting like a harlot and doing wicked and evil things, and you want to be in the house of worship on the Shabbat. It don't work that way. If you're married to her, she should be serving the king just like you. She should be serving the Most High right with you. She should be doing everything in her power to uplift you before the people as a Most High servant. We don't understand that. And I've taken you on 3 different levels so far of spirituality and trying to get your spirit right by allowing foreign entities and foreign spirits to stay away from you, far away from you. You got to understand, family. The brother said, that boy Prince be going too deep for me, man. I don't know what he be talking about. That boy just too spiritual. He's right. I don't know about too spiritual, but I'm extremely sensitive when it comes to the spirit realm, because I understand that Torah. I understand what that Torah is saying. I fully understand. And that's why the Most High in the law tells us not to eat food that's sacrificed to devils. Don't eat these foods. Ecclesiasticus tells us the same thing. Don't eat these foods. Prince turns around and tells you the same thing, but Prince too spiritual. Come on, bro. It's not about that. You just refuse to hear what the Most High say. Or maybe he gave me some ears and eyes that you don't have. Maybe it's just not your job to teach that to the people. Maybe it's Prince's job. So maybe that's why Prince is doing it. I just want to see my people in proper alignment with the Most High and his will. That's all I want to see. So when I learn things, I share things. Maybe that's why the Most High gives me things. He's been giving me things for a very long time. And I've been sharing them and watching these things come into fruition. May the Most High be praised. I thank you all for coming out. But before we close out, we want to know if there are any questions. Any questions, any comments? If there's any in the room, please post it, family. It's all about the Creator and the Most High's people. And you have to understand that. And if you're a spiritual leader, if you're a moray, and you're not serving the people, then you need to sit down somewhere and be quiet and shut up and go away. So women can inherit the promise then. Yes, women can inherit the promise. They can. But if they do, that means they have to marry within their tribe. They have to marry within their tribe. Any other questions? No more questions. All right. May the Most High be praised. All right. Ima, did we want to talk about Pesach on the record, or did we want to close out and then have that conversation? Can't hear you. Turn your mic on. I'll turn mine off. Ima, turn on your mic, please.
I was on mute. I was saying I figured we would speak on Pesach Live for if anyone has a question, seeing that for us it's coming up in a week.
I only wish that was true. Those are my prayers. May the Most High be praised. Okay, Iman, you got the floor.
You wanted me to read about Pesach?
Oh, you mean have a scripture class about Pesach? No.
Okay.
No. I thought you was just going to let everybody know what we're doing, what we will be doing. If you wanted to come, inviting them out. I don't know. That's what I thought you meant.
Okay, we could do that after prayer.
So you want to have a discussion about Pesach?
I mean, I don't know if everybody who comes on the call knows all about Pesach, but
Okay.
we don't. It's already. Yeah.
Don't we have another class before Pesach?
Yeah, a couple of days before.
Okay. All right. Let's take any questions. Anything relevant? Any questions about Passover? Anybody have any questions about Passover? Anything leading up to Passover? I know there are many Passover dates circling around. A lot of people are leaning on their own understanding or the understanding of somebody that they trust to determine when Passover is. Therefore, a lot of congregations have Passover in December, in the dead of winter, which is a direct contradiction against what the Torah says about Passover. I can understand somebody having it in the spring months, but in the winter? In the month of Abib, the beginning of the year, is when you're supposed to keep Pesach. There are conditions that has to be in place to determine when Pesach is. There are witnesses that you have to look for to determine when Pesach is. And one of them is the barley harvest, and one of them is the moon. One of them is that the vegetation of the earth has to let you know the proper season that it's in to determine the beginning of the year. So once you find a field that is Abib, a maturated state, when it can produce seeds. Once you find a field that's in the state of Abib, not ready to be harvested, but in a maturated condition. You found enough of that in one section of the land, you look for the second witness. The second witness will be the sighting of the moon. And once you got those two witnesses, then you can proclaim the new year. Without at least two of those witnesses, you can't do it. And let's say you shouldn't do it. So this year, we found the barley harvest. One field out of 5 was ripened and ready, doing its thing. The significance is that before you have Passover, those fields, the majority of those fields, have to be completely ready to be cut down because you have to wave the sheaf the day after the Passover. Excuse me, the day after the Shabbat after the Passover. You have to cut that sheaf and wave it up as an offering. Therefore, if you waited too long and you have Passover next month, that new grain would be sour by that time. Mm-hmm. It would be no good if we waited till next month. So anybody's waiting till next month to keep the Passover, those two witnesses wouldn't be any good anymore because it wouldn't be the new harvest of the year. It wouldn't be the first ripened grains. And that's what the Father tells us to look for. That new harvest, not the old lingered around from last month. So that let us know that we're in the proper month because this is the new harvest. That new harvest had to be brought up. It had to be brought up so that you can offer it up as a wave offering. It did not have to be ready to be ripe. It did not have to be ready to be cut when you said it was acceptable. It didn't have to be ready to be cut, but it had to be ripened by time of Passover, and it only takes about 10 days for it to ripen. It only takes about 10 days. And this was way back on the 10th of the month. Pesach was the 26th of the month. So that gave us more than 10 days. All right? Yeah, so a lot of people got like my sister said, a lot of people got Passover on the wrong day. But we're not going to argue with them about it. We just want to embrace it. If they want to do that, that's fine. They can do that. We're not going to argue with you about it, but we understand the law, and we're going to do what the law says. And the law says exactly what I just described to you all, is how we're supposed to do the Passover. A lot of people put a leap year in this year, but they didn't have to. Some people did it just to be careful, but they already had those dates out way before Pesach came, which meant that's the day that they wanted to go with. So what they did was they didn't want to be wrong and change it. So they kept the dates that they had already out. And that's not righteousness. It's not how we're supposed to do things. We go with the One Nation Calendar Coalition, the dates set forth by the One Nation Calendar Coalition. And this is how we move. And that's how we do the beginning of our months, the beginning of our years, and our seasons and our holy days, based on the determination of the One Nation Calendar Coalition. I just happen to be one of those people who helped to determine the beginning of the months and the years and the dates. I just happen to be one of those who put my hand to the pen and say, here it is, world. I take it to another elder. We sit down, we discuss it, we challenge each other on it to see who's right, who's wrong, and we make an agreement. And that agreement determines, based on the evidence that's supplied, that agreement will determine who's right or who's wrong. But 90% of the time, 99% of the time, him and I got the same dates because we got the same information. He searches on his end, I searches on my end, we bring it together and we go through it. But we usually come out with the same dates. He does one method, I do a totally different method. But we usually always come out with the same dates. But him and I, we would never get to a point where, well, I'm just right. I'm just going to do it this way. I'm just right. We don't move like that. We make an agreement before we come out of this, hang up the phone or get out that room. We make an agreement and we substantiate our agreement with the evidence that's present as to what we're going to do and why we're going to do it. That's how we determine the way that we're going to move. Okay? So, are there any other questions about Pesach or anything else? That's right, Sister Sharon. Sister Sharon says she don't recall Pesach ever being that late in the year in the month of April. That is late in the month of April. That's super late. It has been in April, but it hasn't been that late that I can recall either. That's super late in the month. Are there any other questions pertaining to Passover? Passover is March the 26th, all day. So it comes in March the 25th at night. At sunset is when it comes in. Once the sun goes down the 25th, you are now in Pesach, or the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And what a lot of people don't know is that Passover is just a smidgen of time. You don't have a whole lot of time to do the Passover. It's a smidgen of time. But the Feast of Unleavened Bread lasts all that day. And you're to eat the Passover with the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And all of the Passover lamb should be gone by the morning. If it's not completely gone by the morning, you have to burn it in the fire. Are there any other questions? Any other comments? There are no questions, no comments. Everybody's thoroughly understanding what's going on with Pesach. All right. And we're going to have a blessed Pesach this year as well. May the Most High be praised. Are there any other questions about any other subject or topic you may have? Are there any other questions or any other comments? All right. Do we have somebody in the line to close us out with prayer? Hey, call the center. Tell them about
Heavenly Father, gracious King, we humble ourselves as we come before you, asking permission to approach unto your throne. O Creator, we thank you for allowing us to come before you on this day, on your set apart day, the Shabbat day. We thank you, Creator, for keeping us all on this day to learn the lessons that have been taught today by Mishrate Azaryahu and my Ish Prince Kazaradar. Thank you, Creator, for being with each one of them, being with their minds and their thoughts, and allowing them to teach your word, to teach your people in a righteous manner. I pray, O Creator, that we all have taken something from this day that we can add to our lives in a positive manner, O Most High, that we could walk away from and share with others so that they may increase their growth and elevation in knowledge of who you are, O Most High, and who they are of themselves. Most High, I thank you for the presence of all those who call upon your name. I ask, O Most High, that if it be your will, God should protect each one of us, O Most High, especially as we end out this day and go into our week of work and pleasure, O Creator. Watch over us, O Most High, each and every one of us. Bring us back unto you, O Creator, on another Shabbat day in the week. Continue to be with us, O Most High, as we educate our Yeladim, and be with our Yeladim, O Most High, as they, as sponges, take in all this knowledge, O Creator. Strengthen their minds, O Most High. Strengthen their discipline, O Most High. Strengthen their honor, and allow them, O Most High, to find joy in what they partake in on a daily basis. Most High, we thank you for this land, O Creator, and we ask, O Most High, that you continue to be with our hands as we work this land, O Most High, in the many different ways that you have already destined for it to be. We ask, O Most High, that if we do anything incorrect or wicked, that you correct us swiftly, O Most High. That you keep us protected, O Most High, within these gates. And when we step out of these gates, O Most High, that we still remain under your covering, yet until we return unto our homes. Most High, I ask that you be with the fatherless and the widow, that you be with those who are in prison unjustly, and that you be with those on the sick beds. And if it be your will, O Most High, free the innocent, heal the sick, and cover those in need, including the unsheltered, O Creator. Most High, you are our rock and our Redeemer, and in you we put all of our trust. I thank you, Most High, for the births of those babies who have came forward this week and in the last few months. I thank you, Most High, for those who are in the womb at this time, O Most High. May you bless the womb, O Most High, protecting those souls. I ask, O Most High, that you continue to be with those who are in mourning, O Most High, of losses in their families, O Creator, which encompasses our family, O Most High. Please be with each and every one of them and continue to give them comfort, strength, and peace, O Creator. In your name do we ask for all of this. And we say, Toda Rabbah, Most High, for all things and everything. Toda Abi, Toda Rabbah, Stella.
The Most High be praised. Great prayer. Very, very, very good prayer. Greatly appreciate it. All right, family. We're going to say Shabbat Shalom to everyone that is here. Thank you all for coming out and sharing your special, precious time with us on this day. And for those of you who was with us for both classes, a special great gratitude and appreciation to you as well. And those of us who are here every Shabbat, a very, very, very special gratitude and praises unto you. And may the Most High bring a million blessings in your life that you never even thought was possible. Praise be the King who reigns on high and sits on his throne. and cast forth excellent judgment. Toda Rabbah. Mimi?
I just wanted to remind those who are able, or even if you're not able, we are having our Yeladin Spring Ball next Sunday, Yom Rishon, March 24th. And then 2 days later begins our Pesach, week of Kakmatzo. And just asking all those who are able to come and enjoy with us as a family. Of course, it's still the Shabbat, so we'll remain from speaking of any monetary. But the whole goal is to us to come together as a family and as a community. So reach out to myself, or reach out to More Zakaria or Nastika Amuna for any and all information, so that we can help you get the information, even if you can't physically be here. You know, we just want to make sure that you're acknowledged and know what's going on. So Creator willing, we'll hear from you soon, and Most High be with each and every one of us. Shalom.
All right. May the Most High be praised. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Create the Most High will. We'll see you all next Shabbat. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.